The last night of July. Can you believe it? Yep, after tonight, we're 7 months down with only 5 to go in 2023. It is an enormous night on the international sporting stage for Australian teams, of course, with the final night of the 5th test of the Ashes unfolding at the Oval. And, of course, everything happening down in Melbourne with the Matildas World Cup hopes hanging by a thread. They're on the line tonight at Amy Park in Melbourne. We will keep you across all of that over the course of the next 3 hours. But our immediate and forthright focus for the moment will be round 4 of the Orbic Australia GT4 Challenge into round 4 of Waste Options GT3 as we go to the Jerez circuit first up and then on to Circuit Zolder. And it's a sprint affair tonight for you, ladies and gentlemen, on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club as we get night 1 of week 4 of term 3 up and away. Good evening, everybody. Zach Cabot, Adam Lavis with you. Liam Banks will be here after GT4 as well. Welcome to Monday Night Motorsport for the final time in July. Yep, already week 4 of the championship. Can you believe that? It's gone by in a flash, hasn't it? There are the circuit and track conditions and temperature and forecast and details on your screen. To the right-hand side, you'll notice that we've fast-forwarded to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which, if it was a reflective comparison to where we are in the real world, wouldn't be accurate because 2 o'clock Spanish time is 10 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, but that's okay. 25 degrees the ambient, 51 on track, scorching conditions there at the Jerez circuit, a partly cloudy night. We'll go back to the track map in just a moment because it is still one that we're not terribly familiar with. We've only been coming here for the last couple of seasons, but in the meantime, the championship standings, tied at the top, 14 points, 18 points, in fact, covers the top 421 covers the top 5. So 8 points the margin first to second. Sam Muir, Greg Favell, then Gary Cousins, Nick Fodiatis and Jared Knight. Sam Chapman is there in 6th place and he is on pole. So actually, no, he's been pipped. He was on pole for much of the qualifying session. He was provisionally sitting top spot, but he's been pipped at the post by Jordan Malcolm in what is a Porsche 1-2. He sits 7th in the championship at the moment, only 1 point separating those two. And then another point further back to Oliver Patterson and Michael Hammond is 9th and Daniel Saar is 10th. Now, it is a logjam there, as you can see. 62 points covers 1st through 10th. And one hell of a title fight on the line in the next 7 weeks. It is shaping up beautifully, just as it did last season. 8 points first to second, 6 points, 4 points, etc., etc., etc. Jordan Malcolm, Sam Chapman, front row tonight, 0.03 of a second. That's how tight it was. Sam Chapman desperately unlucky to miss out there because he, as I said, was on the top spot until we actually launched the broadcast.
Well, also, it might be an omen because last week he was pole and the internet said no because he got 3 laps in and got kicked out. So
that's right, exactly.
Maybe pole's a curse for him.
Oh, no. We'll wait and see. So, Jordan Malcolm, Sam Chapman, the front row. Sam Muir, Greg Favell, the second row. 3rd row, Oliver Patterson, Jared Knight. 4th row, Michael Hammond, Gary Cousins. 5th row, Dale Sharp, Matt Distill. So a lot of the championship combatants are at the top end of the town, as you'd expect them to be. Nick Wood, Paul Wood, and All Wood, 6th row. Adam Burhop, Anthony Visman, Nick Fodiatis, and Daniel Correa. Then, of course, you go back to Robert McGrath and Joe Baldwin. Then, of course, we go back to Aidan Schultz and Adam Proctor. Matty Scholes. And then down in 22nd place there, of course, is Damien Bishop-Taylor. Eduardo Zamora and Greg Padgett are there. Wayne Visser as well. Brett Bradbury. Aaron Bryan, Robert Coldbreath. Then we go back to Scott Craig, Braden Sagassa, Brian Bullock, and also Stephen Brooks. No Wayne Visser, no Adam Johnson taking to the grid there. Scott Craig has taken to the grid. Brian Bullock's going to be the last one in the field here. So a couple of drivers out of place already as we make our way towards the start line. There are drivers actually gaining positions on the sighting line. So let that sink in for a moment. This circuit a little over 4 kilometres long. It's tight, it's technical, it's challenging. Overtaking options come at a premium. Let's get ready to rock and roll. It's dished up some good racing in the past. A fair bit of biff and barge last time we were here. Let's see if we can keep it clean this time. Round 4 of the Orbic Australia GT4 Championship is underway. Green and away. Down towards the first corner we go. Good start. Jordan Malcolm converts beautifully off the line. Chapman slots into second under pressure from Favell on the outside. And on the inside, it's going to be Muir and Knight in behind him as well. And just beyond that, Michael Hammond making a go of things with Oliver Patterson, who's down on the inside in the Hot Wheels entry. Up on the outside, now Jared Knight. Top 6, 7 remain as they were as they sort their way through the first sector on the opening lap. Look at us go up and away on a Monday night. And cleanly too, I might add. 31 start, 31 still running. Wayne Vizers now joined the fold. He's out on the circuit. He started from pit lane, now in 32nd place, back of the field. There will be a splash and dash here along the way tonight. We know that. Trademark GT4 Monday night competition. We'll find out where that critical lap is for you in a few moments' time, I'm sure. Down on the inside, good move. Jared Knight and Oliver Patterson still arguing over the same piece of real estate. And Patterson keeping Knight at bay and inviting Hammond into the mix as well. Malcolm and Chapman have bolted a second and a half to the good on Muir and Favell. Patterson doing a great job until then, because he's just opened the door and allowed Jared Knight through. It was a stoic, staunch defence in the opening stages of the opening lap, but now Knight sees an opportunity. But if Patterson can hang tough there around the outside, they've got to be mindful of Hammond on the inside as well. Patterson's going to get hung out to dry here if he's not careful. Knight's gone, he's lost that spot. Hammond's there, forcing the issue, and look at the log jam in behind them, but Patterson's going to hold sixth for now. Frantic opening lap. Down on the inside, Dale Sharp, Matt is still arguing over the same piece of real estate. So too Nick Wood, and Nick Wood's put it in the grass. And Paul Wood's gone as well. It wasn't Nick Wood, it was Nick Wood. It was Nick Wood, no, I was right with that. Chaos has ensued. Not sure who the other driver was involved there. Joe Trucker Baldwin. Oh, jeez. Drama on the opening lap, and it all started with Nick Wood catching the grass. Paul Wood, an innocent bystander, and all of that.
I was about to say too, it's good to see Nick Wood and Dale Sharp with the Beamers up in the top 10 there, so they're having a good crack at it.
It's great to see the Beamers actually being somewhat competitive. Absolutely. Sharp sitting 9th at the moment. Nick Wood limping it back to the lane, no doubt. Oh boy. What drama here on the opening lap. We got through 3/4 of it cleanly. Joe Baldwin's now showing as the race leader, but that's not right. That is not correct. There is a little bit of a blip in the system there, a glitch if you like, showing that Baldwin's the best placed car at the moment.
He toes forward to the end of the lap, so he's just jumped in front of everybody.
Yep.
Line will sort itself out.
Copy that. Through they come again. Dale Sharp, we ride on board with him. Remember the Orbic Commentator's Choice Awards up for grabs tonight. Dale being the best place to the BMWs, might be in a position to obtain that. In the way of positional moves, though, Adam Proctor's putting his hand up. He's gained 8 spots thus far, Adam Proctor. 9 for Braden Sagassa, charging through from the rear of the field. Dale Sharp has lost, Nick Wood has lost 18 positions. We ride on board with Dale Sharp. 20 minutes and 57 seconds to go. Malcolm, Chapman, Muir, Favell, Knight, Patterson, Hammond, Sharp and Distill. And then behind them is Paul Wood making up the top 10. Damien Bishop Taylor passed around the outside there by Braden Sagassa, so he continues his charge. And now Aidan Schultz wants a piece of it and goes down the inside as well and says thanks for coming. Anthony Visma, here he is side by side with Adam Proctor and Nick Fodiatis wanting to weigh into it as well. Nick Fodiatis will be happy that his nemesis from the last time we visited here in GT4 hasn't made an appearance tonight. Jeezy was filthy after that, got turned into the wall.
So Visma's got no front bar from that front straight kerfuffle, so he might be down a little bit on straight line speed here, so he could be a little vulnerable.
Copy that. Although it's not stopping him from having a crack, riding there on the tail of Adam Proctor. So Baldwin's pitted, has come out again.
He's got a very slippery McLaren in front of him, which is going to cut through the air pretty good.
And now that order has corrected itself, and Joe plummeted down to 30th position. 19 and a half minutes to play. Jordan Malcolm, Sam Chapman lead the way. Sam Muir, Greg Favell, Jared Knight, Oliver Patterson, Michael Hammond, Dale Sharp, Matt Distill, Paul Wood, Adam Proctor and Anthony Visma. the top 11. Nick Vodiatis and Gary Cousins in behind that. We're watching Vodiatis down on the outside of Visma. Can't get it done. They're trying to get... Now he can up the outside. Can he stay there and hang tough and get it around the outside? We'll wait and see. No, he can't. Visma had other ideas for the moment. Car 92, fastest lap of the night thus far. That's Jared Knight, 146.616. Eighteen and a half minutes to go. So on that pace, you're probably safely betting on at least 13 laps tonight. They may sneak a 14th, depending upon the pit lane transit time and how much they lose there. Well, actually, they'd have to lose a terrible amount of time not to get the 14th. We might have to do some overtime just to complete the 14th lap. Through we go again. And it's Adam Proctor still holding on to 11th spot at the moment, up 9 spots. Biggest mover of the race so far. With the exception of Braden Sagassa, of course, who's up 11 spots, having started 30th, moved up to 19th, and Stephen Brooks 32nd to 22nd. A couple of those gifted to them in the form of non-starters in Adam Johnson. And, of course, also retirement early in the piece for Robert McGrath. Wayne Visser out of business. And Joe Baldwin still in pit lane after 2.5 minutes. Down on the inside, Proctor defending, keeping Visma at bay.
Well, Visma got past and then Proctor got him back again, so a little tick for that.
Nothing wrong with that. And still Nick Vodiatis and Gary Cousins in behind them, so the teammates working together. Bit of a Porsche onslaught there. Porsche 1 and 2, Mercedes 3 and 4, Aston 5. Porsche 6-7, Mercedes 8, BMW 9, Aston 10, and the first of McLaren's is 11th in Adam Proctor. Oh, more drama, this time down at the bottom corner. Braden Sagassa gets through unscathed.
I wouldn't say that.
But, well, not quite, but Eduardo Zamora is on the tow rope, and this is how it happened. Oh. Okay, so he gets through unscathed in the sense that he's still driving the car, and it appears relatively undamaged, but he might have a case to answer in race control.
Oh, look who's latched on here.
So Jordan Malcolm's brought Sam Chapman along for company. Sam Muir and Greg Favela trying to go with margin of 2.5. Monday night motorsport platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. A huge night of sport, as I mentioned in the opener. Keep you across the Matildas and the Ashes as best we can throughout the course of the next few hours.
Got some pit lanes starting. Now remember to keep an eye on some of the pit lane times there, Zach. Because remember, the green is definitely lava here. If they touch the inside green on the pit entry, it is instant death. Because they basically, from what we've worked out, we believe what happens is the iRacing gives them a slowdown, but it pops up just before you cross the yellow cones. You don't get time to see it or react. So then you go across the line, and it goes, right, you haven't said your slowdown, here's 70 seconds.
So Gary Cousins, Adam Burhop, Braden Sagassa have all come into the pit lane and are back out again, relatively unscathed. They've all pitted on lap 5. Mick Wood, Brett Bradbury on lap 4. So it looks as though our pit range is that critical lap would appear to be lap 4. They can get home the next 10 laps from there. That seems to be the general consensus. Nice
long track tonight, so won't be as many laps as some of the other shorter tracks.
No. But obviously, the longer the circuit, that varies the fuel burn and critical lap numbers and all that sort of stuff. So got to be mindful of that too. 10.25 minutes gone. Trust you're enjoying Monday Night Motorsport. Last one of July. Next week, I won't be here because I'm at Suncorp Stadium up in Brisbane having a look at a FIFA Women's World Cup round of 16 match, and might not be the Matildas, but it'll be fun all the same to go and check that out next Monday night. But of course, we mark the halfway mark of the season next Monday night, and Adam Lavis, Liam Banks, and Grant Gill will be here with you for that. The following Monday night, I'll be back on deck and looking forward to that immensely. But I will be here for the next few Thursday nights. There's no interruptions on a Thursday night for at least a month, so we're excited about that. More action here as we pick up Matt just still in 8th place. Dale Sharp and Paul Wood in behind him. Very little in the way of margin separating those 3 cars at the moment.
Feisty little battle here. Matt in a livery that you would probably be quite fond of.
It's not bad. It's a Cessnock inspired livery. The black and yellow. I do like that. Well played.
Oh, Dale's got a good run here.
And Dale Sharp also with a very nice Orbic livery, I might admit. Up on the outside goes the Bimmer. Tried to get the up and under, couldn't get that. Now goes to the outside, gets covered off, opens the door down the inside. Paul Wood says thanks for coming.
I think he tried to tighten the exit up. He might have got a little bit of wheel spin on the eggs there and just compromise his drive. And Woodsy said, thank you. I'll have that.
Very cleanly done. Someone mentioning Aiden Schultz. We picked him up on screen. Nice, bright, almost fluorescent yellow livery there. Sam Chapman takes the lead as Jordan Malcolm comes to pit lane. So Jordan Malcolm has come in at about half race distance. 7 down, we imagine 7 to go. Jordan Malcolm on pit road. And he's not the only one. Dale Sharp's gone in, Anthony Visma, and also Daniel Correa-Sarr on pit road right now. So pit lane is nice and busy on a Monday night. Brian Bullock, the last of those in. Aaron Bryan as well. Anthony Visma. Eduardo Zamora and Wayne Visser parked up and done for the night. Robert McGrath as well, and I'd imagine Joe Baldwin too. So 4 retirements already. Adam Johnson, a non-starter. And here's a replay of what happened to Robert Colbreth. Similar to Nick Wood.
Exactly the same, just trying to carry the throttle on the grass, and that didn't pay off.
Lucky for the oncoming traffic that he didn't bounce or spear back in front of them as speedily as we've seen other incidents unfold there. Oliver Patterson doing a nice job, 4th place at the moment. So top 10 yet to stop. Jordan Malcolm, the best placed of those 2, have stopped. He sits 11th. This is what happened to Robert McGrath.
Lap 1, so
oh, no.
To catch a bit earlier, so that was actually Schultz.
Yeah, that was just one of those moments where the car wasn't moving and McGrath's just come straight onto it and ended up giving himself nowhere to move. Nowhere to go. All over Red Rover. Nick Fodiatis into the top 10 now, and we'll wait and see how that translates when he gets out onto the racetrack after his pit stop is completed. Adam Proctor's moving to pit lane, it would seem. Yes, so Fodiatis has clear air to work with. Round onto the main straight.
We've got a couple of people that may have been... Oh, no, they're just... I think Robert...
Chapo's on pit road.
I think Colbreth might have got done with the penalty. He's in a 1 minute, 1 stop. But everyone else, I believe, it hasn't been an incident. Is still clean with their pit stop times. So it looks like people might have been learning from recent events.
Recent indiscretions.
There's a couple of guys who did a supercar race last week were in the chat were like, oh, did anyone else get a penalty?
Yep. Gets them every time. So Fodiatis 7th at the moment. Lap traffic moving to one side. The gap between Fodiatis and his teammate Paul Wood is now 10 seconds. Wood being the next one up the road in P6. Matty Scholes sitting 16th at the moment, chasing Adam Burhop and Daniel Correa. Daniel did a very nice job, I thought, on Thursday night, steering the ship here.
He's definitely been a good pickup so far. He's a person, if you notice on during the inch, not only has he joined us to do some broadcasting and also he's got a very good commentary voice as well, but he also is a little bit savvy with the computer graphics because as you see, we've got the animated intro and exit screens now with just our Be Right Back screen. So we've got the pulsating hexagons. So he's helped us with that. So just get a little bit more of a style upgrade with the broadcast.
Yep, and it's looking good too. Everybody's raising the bar with regards to the on-screen presentation on the platforms of the GSRC, and we've been doing it for, what's this now, season number 14. Just extraordinary. Yep. No wonder I'm tired. I
think it all just started with a Friday night doing some stock car racing.
I know. Now all of a sudden it's twice weekly ritual. It's good. 40 weeks a year. And
to be fair, that's actually 2 seasons before that, because the seasons only start counting, I believe. Oh no, possibly not.
Nah.
I think but GT3 was sort of second, so there's probably one more season, or at least half a season of stock cars before we started GT3s.
That's right, yeah, and that was for 2 seasons at the end of 2020. Then we had 4 seasons, 21, 22, and now we're heading for 4 in 23 as well. So no, the count, the maths is right. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, next man, boo-boo.
Nick Fodiatis off the road, caught out on the run, up around that long sweeping right-hander onto the back straight and loses all the momentum and some track time as well. Aidan Schultz blasts on by. Greg Favell's there too. Sam Muir the leader. Oliver Patterson second, the margin 3 seconds.
Oh, just a curb set. That was just a weird curb unsettling. That was very unfortunate.
One that he probably wouldn't have seen coming.
It's one of those unlucky ones. Every now and then you do the same curve the same way 20 times in a row, 21st time. Boom. What's this weird bump going on here?
Brings you undone. Yep, exactly. That's why they've always said, keep it within the white lines.
Leaders
on the black stuff.
Call up time. Everyone's in.
Muir, Patterson, Bristol and Wood. The end of lap 10. That makes sense. 4 to go. That makes a heck of a lot of sense to me. That it's a 4-lap splash and dash to the checkered flag. And when you balance that out with the guys that came in at the end of lap 4, 4 and 10 is 14, 10 and 4 is 14. So, yeah, we've found our critical numbers at both ends of the spectrum. Jordan Malcolm, the leader. Sam Chapman, second. Half a second the margin. 3/4 of a second, to be more precise.
Nick still was a bit ahead, though.
Oh, okay. So, Fodiatis will continue on and get to 11, we would imagine. That might end up being to his own detriment, though. Just giving everybody an update. Final day of the 5th test from the Oval. Cloudy morning in London, but play is going to start on time. 98 overs to be bowled today, unless weather gets in the way. And Australia need another couple of hundred to win. And they've got all 10 wickets in the shed. England trying to deny them of an outright series win. Weather may be against them. 2-all still means Australia retain the Ashes, of course. Here's Oliver Patterson all over the back of Jared Knight. So the battle that we saw raging before the pit lane sequence unfolded continues on the other side thereof. 19.5 minutes gone. Oliver Patterson, 7th. Jared Knight, 6th, just behind them. There he is, popping into shot now. Michael Hammond just ahead of them. This battle. Greg Favell all over the back of Nick Fodiatis, but Fodiatis is out of sequence. We know he's got to come in for a splash and dash.
Surely a bit of slap.
You would think so. We'll keep our eyes on it. Here's Greg Favell. Now Fodiatis will go exit stage left. Everybody else will continue on.
So
goodbye track position.
Looks like I think pretty much everyone has got away without getting a pit penalty here tonight. So guys have actually learnt the tricks of the trade. So unless Nick's just picked one up now, I doubt it. He knows about it. I'm pretty sure he got it right.
Robert Colbreth would be the only one.
He's maybe. I said it was normally a 70-second stop. So normally, but he's only done 1 minute. So maybe he got something else, or maybe he was doing tyres or something else silly.
Yeah.
But the other guys have all just because they've either towed or done something different. So, but everyone else has done. There is Bishop Taylor and Stephen Brooks had over a 30-second stop, so they've had something going on there, possibly tyres or some other little speeding penalty possibly. But yeah, it looks like people have learnt to stay off the green.
Very well done by all and sundry. Lap 12 of 14. It's good to have you along for the ride.
A couple of battles going on here. So Nick Wood's under attack on Mount Steele.
And Paul Wood
Paul Wood
has been displaced. So Wood displaced by Distill,
not
but fights back on the inside and forces the issue around the left-hander. Distill hanging tough, using all the road, the AstroTurf and a little bit more, and Paul Wood holds on. It's not done yet, though. It's not done yet. Because shortly Distill will look to fight back.
And just behind these guys, Nick came out in a battle. He's managed to get in front of him now. He's just got he's in with behind Adam Burhop now. So still move in the last corner.
Oh, he got him,
Too deep. He got too deep.
Wood around the outside again. That'll put him on the inside for turn one. But can he get the foot to the floor and get the power down required to hold the line on the inside? Yes, he can. Still just can't get the job done. How many tracks do we see this sort of racing at, though? Where the overtaking opportunities are few and far between, and the degree of difficulty of executing them and consolidating them is tenfold.
Just battle groups are popping up everywhere here. I don't think we're going to need the old Zach Megawall.
Braden Sagassa up 16 spots as the mover of the night. He's just got ahead of Adam Proctor. Big send down the inside by Aidan Schultz. Hanging out to dry there, Anthony Visma, I think it was, and got him.
No,
Visma gets back down the inside.
Visma returns serve. Sagassa's off. You've jinxed him.
I have, but not much. He hasn't lost any much in the way of ground there. He's still up 16 spots, still keeping Proctor at bay. Now, will Visma open the door to Schultz? This is lap 13 of 14. Jordan Malcolm, the leader. Sam Chapman's punched out the fastest lap of the race at 1:46.575. The margin's half a second. Schultz on the inside of Visma. And a little bit of hip and shoulder as well.
Shutting the door.
Schultz was open to it. He was aware of it. He said, if I don't get the elbows out here and barge this bloke, he's going to get me back on the inside for the next corner. That's smart gamesmanship from Schultz.
And
Jared Knight under pressure, under the pump.
So Ollie Patterson's coming a long way since last season. He's got one of our... Jared won a season. Let's have a look at it. I'm pretty sure he's previous GT4 champ, and Ollie is all over him.
All over him like a cheap suit. Last lap at Areth. Now, just a correction. There is a 10-minute delay to the start of play at the Oval. It looked as though everything was in place and everyone was going to start on time. But no, the covers are the covers have been taken off and the stumps have only just gone in. So a 10-minute delay to the start of play there. Have a look at this. Visma still all over the back of Schultz. Schultz holding on. 1 lap to go. And behind them is Daniel.
And Chapman's under a second away from Jordan, but that's like the biggest gap we've got.
Well, that's right. Exactly. Forget about the leaders. We'll get back to them in a moment. Half a lap to go for them. There are battles raging everywhere here. Jared Knight still under the pump from Patterson. Just still all over the back of Wood. Fodiatis on the back of Adam Burhop now.
Gas is off the same corner again.
Off goes Braden Sagassa.
Same corner.
Oh. Twice on the trot. Round we go. Final time. Jordan Malcolm's done a beautiful job of controlling this race. From pole position, Chapman's pushed him every step of the way, but if he's not making mistakes, Jordan Malcolm, he's very hard to stop. He's usually at the top of his game.
Ollie's got past. Ollie's on. He's got the inside too. We're going to go
down
back
the
and watch
inside, Patterson.
We'll come back to that.
We will. Malcolm gets the job done at Jerez. Another former GT4 champion gets back to the top of the summit. He wins in Spain. Chapman second. Muir third.
Oh, he's got back past.
Knight's got back by!
And Hammond's right there as well.
Favell 4th, Knight 5th, Patterson 6th, and Hammond 7th. The only switch in the top 7 was those two right there. Knight up 1, Patterson down 1. Now, Adam Burhop and Nick Fodiatis have got the elbows out. Fodiatis has got ahead of Burhop. And Scholes wants in on that as well around the outside. Watch Matty Scholes hanging it around the outside. Fodiatis is there. Can he out-drag Burhop to the line? Let's have a look. Burhop on the inside. Fodiatis the outside. Fodiatis got it. Burhop holds off Scholes. 0.3 of a second covered the three of them. Sagassa to 14th, up 16 spots. Then Proctor, Schultz and Visma. Then Daniel Correa, Saar, Nick Wood, Adam Bryan, the top 20.
Jesus, this Ollie and Jared last lap here.
Gentlemanly racing, not a touch. Not a touch.
He probably left him a little bit too much room there. It's given Jared the run.
Just a little bit too generous, I would have thought. Yep. Needed to get the elbows out, Schultzy style. And didn't.
Nice, clean racing, though. Very good, boy.
Oh, boy.
Although Mikey would have been probably hoping there was a little bit of contact there.
Yep, absolutely. Round they come onto the main straight, and that was that done. Yeah, Hammond would have loved to for the price of one. It didn't happen. It did not happen. Well, that warms us up just nicely. Let's see what Zolder delivers in GT3 a little bit later on. Just a programming note with regards to that too, folks. Slightly later start of the second race coming up tonight because we're actually going to jump servers partway through the night. We're going to start by bringing you the AM split in race 1 of GT3, and then Waste Options GT3 Pro will be the feature of the night. So you're getting 3 courses tonight, which is going to be a lot of fun. Joe Baldwin's jumped into the commentary box to say hello, and you'd have to be frustrated by that, Trucker. It ended well and truly too soon.
Oh, look, I was on fire for a lap. In qualifying, I got another setup off one of my teammates for the car who Woodsy actually gave me one, and it was a lot better than what I was using, and I was over a second faster, but turns out I missed the control line before the checkered flag by about a second. I thought I was on a lap, but I just missed it, so that probably would have put me up about where Visma was, about 14th to 15th. It was a good lap, but yeah, just I knew I had a little bit of pace there. Just if I, same thing. It's always just keep your nose clean. But unfortunately, and I mean it's straight up. I'll say Nick Wood, great guy, great to race with. Uncharacteristic error from him at the end of lap 1 there, and he kept his foot in on the grass, and unfortunately there was a bit of calamity there. So it happens. It's racing.
100%.
Yeah, no hard feelings or anything like that. It's just, I've got to go and eat my tea and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, but it's one of those things, mate. It's a mulligan. That's all.
Well, that's very true, mate. You mentioned that it's very uncharacteristic from Nick Wood. It's helter-skelter in the opening stages of the race. There's no doubt about that. Graham Stewart asking the question, has anyone told Burhop he can't win a race from 20th? No, but I'm pretty sure you're about to. Jordan Malcolm, Sam Muir standing by to have a chat to us as well. Trucker, what we've got you though, it's an unfortunate scenario because in the greater scheme of things, when the field's bunched up early race and you get someone in the grass is suicide on many tracks in the iRacing server. We've seen it before. It's almost as though you're hitting morning dew. Exit stage left, and truthfully, we're lucky that incident wasn't a lot bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. It could have been that. I think the beauty of it, where it happened, it was nice and wide. It's a nice wide part of the track, and I mean, I just passed my teammate in the Bailey Ladders Porsche in Nick Fodiatis. I'd just gone to the right and made a pass on him, and it just shows you, like, you can, it's yin and yang. Like, he could have gone the other way and could have taken out Nick, and everyone would have got by on the right-hand side. But unfortunately, when he got the bump from behind, I'm not sure. I think Burhop might have bumped him. Got caught up in the gaggle, I think. I'm not sure. But once he got the bump, I don't know whether he wasn't holding his brakes, but he just turned hard right, and I just had nowhere to go. And sort of when I've hit him, it's knocked him off track, which sort of opened the track up for a couple of the other guys. But how how Woodsy managed to. He got out of this actually pretty scot-free.
well.
He carried on. He was lucky, but here I just
bang.
There was nothing I could do. I was a bit of a passenger. I seen it happening on the left. I went right, and it's just one side of the coin.
I want to point out Gaz's reflexes. Even in slow mo, he was already turning left as Nick started to lose it. It was instantaneous.
No. He did really well. He was even because I was in the Discord with him, and he straight away he's like, "What the hell was that?" And next thing you know, he's back on track before I've even got into the side of Nick. But I knew what was going on. There was cars behind us. If I had just turned hard left, it would have been a bigger accident. So I just, I'll take it as a mulligan, as one of my week offs, and we'll move on to next week, wherever it may be.
We'll get to that in a moment. BMW stopped on the side of the road, hardly a new sign. Now, just before we go any further with that, Nick Wood, of course, got back to 19th in the end, finished on the lead lap. The league lap being 14. Jordan Malcolm, the winner from Sam Chapman. Chapman, the fastest lap of the race. We'll hear from him shortly as well. He, Nick Fodiatis, Jordan Malcolm, and also Sam Muir standing on by. That was what happened to Adam Burhop earlier in the piece. That's why he was so far down the order. But fought back well to 12th in the end. Speaking of next week, Joe, I think it's Road Atlanta, is it not next week? No, Road America. Road America for you and Road Atlanta for the GT3 series. So a big night ahead there, and then the new venue that's a bit of an unknown in Willow Springs. So and then on to Virginia, which dished up some good Porsche racing the other night. So an American triple header ahead of us here in the next 3 weeks.
I'll absolutely put my hand up and say, do not miss the broadcast for Willow Springs. It's a fantastic, flowy place, but there's not a lot of brake markers and stuff like that. So I think you're probably going to see quite a few errors, and you might see some fresh faces up the front. It's a really different. It's got a different flow to just about any other track. So I'm looking forward to. I think other than I know we ran on a Friday night there in the Friday night race we do, but I think it's probably the first time we visited there in a broadcast.
Yes, from memory. Although that being said, I have missed a lot of the last couple of weeks, so I'm not across it as well as I'd like to be. But I believe it'll be my first time commentating a race at Willow Springs. I know that much. And then, of course, we finish the season with a bit of continent hopping again. Motorland Aragon, then Suzuka, then Magny Core on September 11. Hey, Trucker, are you having what's the plan for the rest of the night? What are you up to?
I'm going to hang out with you fine folk, and I'll give you a hand with the GT3. Unfortunately, your co-commentator's not feeling real well tonight, so I'll hang around.
Good boy. I appreciate that because, I'm still not back to 100%, but I'm well enough to be in the booth. So that's the main thing, I guess. That's the saving grace in all of that. Good to have you on board, Joe, because it's been far too long between cameo appearances from you in the commentary box. Stay there, mate. Yeah, it has. Stay there, mate. We'll have a chat to you in intermission in just a few moments. Let's bounce around the room. Jordan Malcolm, well done. Controlled that race very nicely, but Sam Chapman pushed you all the way. You couldn't have afforded a cough or a splutter. That's how close he was, but good hard racing and a Porsche 1-2.
Yeah, mate. Good hard racing it was. He pushed me all the way, even down to I had half a litre of fuel left crossing the line, so even just down to the pit stops every little bit, Sam, he was right there. So yeah, it was a really hard-fought race. It may have looked like boring on the stream, but I tell you, it was far from boring in the cockpit.
Well, I was going to say, we didn't see too much of you guys, to be perfectly honest, because the battles were raging behind you. You controlled it, you took off into the sunset, 6 seconds to the good of Muir, Favell and everybody else chasing in close proximity. And, that was a very nice job from you, mate. And unsurprising either, it's fair to say, because let's be honest, you are a former GT4 champion, so this is the sort of form we expect from you. But it must have been nice to have a relatively trouble-free run, a relatively uneventful run, because we know how frantic some of these races have been in the past.
Yeah, exactly. I've already burnt my 2 drop rounds through no fault of my own, so just being caught up in other people's incidents. So it's just one of those things. Yeah, you just need to take these races when they come. Just make the most of them. Yeah, just try not to get caught up in the garbage in the mid pack, because I know how quickly fortunes can change around here.
Very true. And obviously, as you said, you've burned the 2 drop rounds through notified your own, so you need to make every post a winner. And it starts with that result tonight. But you don't have to win every race. You've just got to maintain some sort of consistency at the top end of town.
Yeah, consistent podiums would be nice. Obviously, I lost the championship a couple of seasons ago to Lindsay because he finished second every race, and I had 2 bad weeks.
Yep.
So you need to be aiming for those wins constantly. So to have 2 on the board at the moment is good. But yeah, so we'll try and aim for a podium at least for these next few rounds.
For sure. All right, mate. Very nicely done. Road America next week. Horsepower heaven, and it always throws up close, tight-knit racing, which adds a fair degree of trepidation and trouble to it as well, potentially. If the battles become a little bit too close and it's a little bit too fiery, we have seen it blow up in the past.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice big flowing track. A lot of slipstream will come into play, and with the bop the way it is, you never know which car will like the straights around there now. So it'll be very interesting to see who comes out on top.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Got to keep moving here. We've got some sprint racing standing on by at the bottom of the hour. Thanks for that. Well done.
Thank you.
Sam Chapman, good showing from you. Consistency is what's required. Let's have a look at the season thus far. 4th, 7th, 33rd. Nice to be back at the pointy end of town tonight.
Yes, no, we're on the mobile data, not the Wi-Fi tonight, so unfortunately didn't drop out. But yeah, no, it was great fun. I couldn't quite get to Jordan. I was pretty salty when he pipped me just on the pole lap of the final limits of quali. After it sort of sat there for a while. But yeah, no, great racing out there. Just caught up in a little bit of traffic, but I don't think would have caught him anyway.
0.03 of a second. Bugger all in that. But still a front row start, mate. So a great start to the night. And converted it. Started second, finished second, ticked all the boxes. Again, when you're racing someone like Jordan Malcolm, he's not going to offer you too much in the way of a free invitation to find a way by.
Yeah, absolutely. And the 0x as well, which I was pretty happy with given the track limits around here. So yeah, it was just a case of keeping it clean and keeping it on the track. Yeah, just try to keep up with Jordan, but couldn't quite get there.
And what the bloody hell does it say about the third world state of our internet in this country when you have more luck and more success with the mobile network plan than you do an actual internet plan? I'm not really, I'm not really getting a lot of confidence out of that, I must say.
Very good point. Because it's not like I live in the sticks either.
No.
I'm about 4 k's from Sydney CBD, so you would have thought they would have some decent wide internet, but apparently not.
No, apparently not indeed. What's the mindset, mate? 4 rounds down, 6 to go. You're very much there in contention once you take last week's drop round into consideration.
Yeah, absolutely. The pace is there. It's just sort of keep practicing, make sure you're consistent, not doing anything silly. But yeah, we'll keep pushing with it. Having a lot of fun out there this season.
GT3 Endurance Championship coming up on Sunday. Should give that a plug while you're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to that. We'll be broadcasting the vast majority of it, although Liam and I will probably do a stint at one point. So there'll be an hour that won't be out of that 4-hour race. But yeah, we've got the hypercars and the GT3s. So it's going to be brilliant. I think they've got quite a few entries at the moment too. So yeah, get involved if you haven't got a team together. Put one in, and it'll be good fun. Even if you can't do every race, you may as well give it a crack if you can.
Well, that's How often do we see cameo appearances? Throughout the regular season, you may as well get involved if. Just for the sake of killing time, if nothing else, and being competitive and rattling the cages and throwing the cat amongst the pigeons. I like it. Hey, while we got you, Sam, get to Paul Wood and Nick Fodiatis in just a moment. Next week, Ride America. It's a track that most of us love.
Yes, yeah, no, I think I like Road America. It's been mixed in the past, but in that sort of tricky second sector, and the long straights are going to throw up some interesting racing. That will really, I guess, test the bop of these cars as to where everything sits. You probably see the Aston start to get a bit more legs throughout it, but the Porsche's been a very competent vehicle all season, so we'll see what happens out there.
All right, mate, very nicely done. Thanks for stopping on by. Good luck next week. Good luck on Sunday with the broadcast as well.
Yeah, thanks, Zach.
There he is, Sam Chapman, Nick Fodiatis and Paul Wood. Paul Wood, firstly to you, nice recovery. Almost got cleaned up on the opening lap, as we saw there a few moments ago. First question, how much damage did you sustain from that impact, and how did it compromise your run?
I think you mean Gary Cousins. I actually made it through there. I made the right choice.
Oh, you made it through? Ah, right.
Yes,
no,
he went left, I went right, and
right.
I made the right choice, and he got collected. So, yeah,
Paul's
luckily
in the
I had a
Paul's
sigh
in the
of
Aston,
relief.
Gaz is in the Porsche.
Gotcha. Thank you, Nick. There was a lot happening at that point in time. It was somewhat very difficult to pick it all apart. I think I called Nick and Paul Wood because you two started alongside one another. I think that's what caught us out. So, there it is there. You did make the right call, very luckily. Hey, so obviously, free 2 spots there and then another 2 somewhere down the line, and a really decent battle in the end with Matt DeSille.
Yeah, it was coming into tonight's round. I was not very confident in it at all. I did a few practice sessions and was absolutely struggling with this car to the point I was nearly ready to give up on it. But made one little change tonight with a little bit of a patience, and it come to me really well. So I managed to get a bit of time. The car was really good the whole race. It survived the whole race. Tyres were good, so quite happy in the end. And it managed to allow me to really have that good battle. And I didn't think I was going to get him, but managed to, I think, with a lap or two at the end there, and it was a battle to actually make the pass. I think it took about nearly half a lap to actually complete the pass, but overall I'm really happy with tonight, and hopefully my season will keep going in this direction after the last few rounds.
Well, this is right. I was going to say Adam Burhop also gifting you a position there we saw on replay. What about this circuit, Woodsy? Have you had a run around here before tonight?
Only last season on my first race back on my return after my little sabbatical off there. So, it was up until tonight. I was not really happy with the track because I was just struggling. But after racing it, it's not one of my favourite tracks, but it's a fun track. And I think the more laps I do, the better I will get. It'd be nice to drive something with a little more downforce as well, just to get a little more turn in. But it's an interesting track, but I think it makes for some good racing. There's plenty of overtaking positions, which is always a good thing.
Absolutely, it is. Although that being said, it is a tighter and more technical circuit. You've got to work hard for your overtaking opportunities around here. Executing them one thing, consolidating them quite another. But it is a circuit where racecraft really holds the key.
Yeah, that's what I was saying with David when I overtook him. It still took probably at least another 3-4 corners before I actually really, I would say, happily got the car in front, but then he just kept coming back for a good lap after that. And I think he made one little error that just got him off the tail, which allowed me to actually get back on the racing line and get back to full speed, which we had a run from there. But overall, good racing, really enjoyed it. And you do have to be spot on. Any little mistake and it costs you big time here. So you've got to be hitting your apexes, hitting your exits right. Otherwise you get punished with plenty of off tracks. And I was surprised. I thought I was going to struggle, but I only managed, I think, with 4 in the end, or 5. So quite happy with my race for the evening.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. And Road America, we know you don't mind a rock and roll around there. Next week's going to be fun. 25 minutes. It's a short, sharp sprint race on one of the fastest tracks on the calendar.
Yeah, it should be fun. Especially, I think the Aston will really go well and really get a chance to stretch its legs. We barely get up into 6th gear in most of these tracks so far. So hopefully we'll play into our hands and I can have a little bit of an easier run. But then again, everything can happen, or anything can happen, as they say. So we'll see how we go, and I'll check in after the round next week and see if or our predictions were right.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Thank you for that. Good luck for the rest of the week, and we'll look forward to seeing you ripping and tearing around Road America next Monday night.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Nick Fodiatis, welcome into you. A relatively frantic sort of night at the office for you. You were immersed in battles pretty much from the outset, weren't you? And one little mistake coming on to the back straight, I think, if memory serves. But apart from that, you ticked the boxes, you brought it home, just missed out on the top 10.
Yeah, good evening, Zach. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Look, the Bailey Ladders Porsche was quick in the race tonight. I just couldn't string a lap together in qualifying. And then, as you can see by that replay then, all sorts of things going on, and it continued all the way through the race. Shout out to Jordan and Sam. They were closing me down. I hadn't pitted at that stage. I was the last car to pit. And I was just trying to stay in front of them but not affect their race. But I think I might have been holding them up. And, I ran off the road. But when I come back out, I was in the midst of it, and as you can see here, it was just a conga line all the way through the race. That's why I saved fuel. Yep. There's no other way I could get around some of these guys. So,
well, I was going to say that was the only way you got to 11 laps, wasn't it? Everyone else had pitted by. Well, I think the earliest we saw everyone pitting was 4, and the latest was 10. But you managed to eke it out an extra lap, as you so often do.
Yeah, look, like I said, I had the pace, but not in the right spots to get around the people. Oh, don't show this, Adam. Far out. But yeah, it's one of those things where I got to think on your feet. You got to think on your feet and try and figure something else out to get ahead. So, had a great battle with where are we? Visma at the start of the race. Then was in the thick of it with Proctor and Skulls. And it was just from here on. There was only 3 laps left by this stage, and these two were going at it hammer and tongs, and we had a 3 wide going to the brake zone at the end of the back straight, which was very, very interesting. I didn't deliberately do it 3 wide, but it just ended up being that way. So,
no, it's not one of those circuits where you see a lot of 3 wide running for very obvious reasons. It is a little bit tighter.
Yeah. Well, let's just say I'm just completely covered in sweat because it was a tough race tonight. Only for 11th. It's my first non-top 10. So,
yep.
As you can see here, Proctor ran wide, ran on the grass, stayed down the inside, and we had a bit of a touch in under braking there, and I was trying not to run into Skulsy there, and it was just everywhere all the time. And then to top it all off, the last corner on the last lap, I ran wide.
Yep, and that was essentially what allowed Burhop to hold off Skulls in the end. Skulls was charging hard home. Somehow you managed to hold them off despite running wide at the last corner there. And what was a cracker of a scrap for 11th. Braden Sagassa was closing in, but time got the better of him. Well done. I think that covered just about everything off, mate. Nice to see you out there on the circuit and running around in your traditional colours. The question, obviously, I know Road America is a little bit overused in your opinion, but it does throw up some great racing. So next Monday night, all eyes on deck for what will be round 5 of the championship, and a vitally important one as well. It can make and break seasons, that racetrack.
Yeah, and if you run too much wing, you're a sitting duck at the end of the straight. So hopefully, through the carousel and through the kink, I'm all right. On the run down to turn 5 on lap 1 is going to be very interesting, we'll say.
All right, mate. Hey, very nicely done. Now, Adam Lavis is prompting me that we need to get to the AM split in just a moment. So on that note, I think it's a very easy decision. As I say, thank you to you, Nick Fodiatis. Good luck for the rest of the week. Joe Baldwin's got back in. He's going to join us in the commentary box. I think it's easy enough to say, Adam Lavis, that the Orbic Australia Driver's Choice Award tonight will go to Braden Sagassa, because on a circuit that isn't notoriously known for free wheeling sort of overtaking opportunities and you know a multitude thereof. He made up 16 positions tonight. Yeah, a couple of them were gifted to him, but he's a good, hard, solid racer. Had he been able to put a lap down in qualifying, we could have seen something very bloody special from Braden Sagassa tonight. So up 16 spots, biggest mover of the night. Credit also to Adam Proctor. Up 5 spots, he let it get away from him there with that damage in the end, and had to spend 11.82 seconds on pit lane. He was up 9 at one point, but dropped to 15th and was up 5 at the end of the night. Credit also to Matty Skulls. There were some good movers and shakers in there, but Braden from 30th to 14th around here. That's better than a positional lap, and he did it inside 25 minutes. So very nicely done. And as I say, you got to make your luck around that circuit because it is not the easiest when it comes to overtaking opportunities on offer. Quick break, back with more. Just updating you, the Matildas have got one up. They're up 1-0 against Canada in the early stages there at Amy Park in Melbourne. They need to win that game to guarantee their progression to the next level segment of the tournament. And meanwhile, David Warner's been dismissed very early on the 5th day at the Oval. So Marnus Labuschagne has joined Usman Khawaja at the crease. The Aussies are 1 for 141. A break and back with Waste Options GT3 on the other side of this. Whenever you're ready. Waste Options GT3, Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Part 1 of 2 for you tonight. We're bringing you the opening race of the 4th round of the AM split first up, and then the second race of the Pro split will be our feature for the night. So you're getting an entree, a main course, and a dessert tonight on the back of Orbic Australia GT4. If you're just joining us, that was won by Jordan Malcolm. Now we turn our attention to Circuit Park Zolder and our second visit to Belgium on a Monday night this season. The previous trip, of course, to Spa a couple of weeks ago. Really excited about what might unfold here. Zach Cabin and Joe Baldwin with you in the commentary box. Adam Lavis is here as well. And there's this tail of the tape in... Actually, that's GT4. That's the updated championship standings for you. Sam Muir's gone to the top. 194 plays. Greg Favell, 177. Jared Knight, 162. Gary Cousins, 159. Nick Bodiatis, 152. And Jordan Malcolm. Sam Chapman, both on 147. And Oliver Patterson, 125. So what's that? 69 points covers first through 8th at the moment. Very, very exciting stuff. 45 points, or 47 points, I think it is, separating first and 7th. That's really exciting. With 6 rounds to play. There is the safety car pulling off on the full formation lap here. Just make a note of that, a full formation lap before we get things underway for this opening race. 2:30 in the afternoon. 2023, July 31. Yep, August starts tomorrow, believe it or not. 20 degrees the ambient, 34 on track and partly cloudy conditions. The circuit itself, a little under 4 kilometres. And the lesser of the known circuits in Belgium, but a mighty track all the same. A challenging circuit that'll keep these guys on their toes tonight. You might notice a lot of straights there, but varying degree of difficulty through the corners, the chicanes and the hairpins around here. Adam Holland leads the way at the moment. 138 plays Sean Rees, 128 in Dale Sharp, 104.98 for Dean Eldridge, and also William Yarwood on 92 points make up the top 5 at the moment. Looking further back, James Franco, Greg Heaney, Kevin Coleman, Matt Schmidtke, and Stephen Gallacher make up the top 10. 5 Ferraris, 2 Bimmers, a Porsche, a Mercedes, and a Lambo, the top 10 make up as far as the manufacturer breakdown is concerned. Right. There's the grid. Adam Bryant and Sean Benici, the top two there, the front row. Dean Eldridge and also Stephen Brooks, the second row. Stephen Galich and Neil Gladwin, the third. Kevin Coleman is on row 4 alongside Mark Foster. Row 5, Adam Lee Holland and Kelvin Little. Big field tonight, 34 of them. Ryan Wooden and William Yarwood from 6, from 7. Tristan Koch and Daniel Correa. Then we go back to Mitch McIntyre and Greg Heaney, James Francone and Brendan O'Loughlin, or Braden O'Loughlin, I should say. Matt Schmidtke and Tim Fuge from row 10. Row 11, Hayden Schultz and Bruce Barnes. Row 12, Dale Sharp, Luke Mackay. Row 13, Brian Bullock, Sean Rees. Row 14, Eduardo Zamora and Tim Watson. Row 15, Brett Bradbury and Aaron Bryan. Row 16, Josh Maynard and Simon James. Row 17, Greg Padgett and Robert Colbreth. Good to have our mate from across the other side of the Nullarbor, Joe Baldwin, in the commentary box tonight to lend his vocals to GT3. You much prefer being on this side of the fence for this category trucker. Should be a good show here. Sprint racing, it always brings with it an extra level of intensity.
Especially at a track like this, Zach. This is one of the great tracks for the GT3. It's one of the, it's really technical, but looks simple on paper. But typical European, high speed sweeping corners. It's got the chicanes which are coming through the last one there here to take the green. Adam Bryan off the pole. So hopefully they can get through turn 1. It's a bit of a tricky one. It's a little bit off camber, but always good racing. And hasn't he bolted?
There you go. Adam Bryant has just seen his opportunity to take off. Didn't wait for a second invitation. Off we go. Monday Night Motorsport. Waste Options GT3. Race 1 of 2 for the AM split underway. And Adam Bryant didn't wait for the field to go with him. He pulled the trigger very early in the piece and let everybody else catch up if they could. Benici's held on to second. Eldridge, Brooke. In fact, the top 14 single file as they stood on the grid about half a minute ago. A little bit of dust being kicked up further back. Trouble. Car around. Does everybody get through? No, there's a massive amount of cars in the dirt.
This section up through here is really technical. Breaking the car down through here, just you've got to scrub off more speed than you'd think. And I mean, this might be AM, but these guys are putting on some pretty clean racing for the start. There doesn't seem to be too much drama at the moment out there, Zach. They're having a pretty good run at it. And it's one of those tracks that will probably spread out. They'll definitely get some good racing later on in the heat. So what are we, 21 minutes for heat 1?
Correct.
Yeah, so I'm not sure whether or not we've got fuel stops here. I'm sure Adam would know. I didn't actually happen to look at any of that, whether there'll be some fuel stops or mistakes made there or whatnot.
Not in this race, but in the feature race when we go to pro, there should be a stop.
Yeah, there should be a little flash and dash.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll pick apart what happened on lap 1 there in a few moments' time. Mitch McIntyre's got out on the circuit. Aidan Schultz has retired. Brett Bradbury off the circuit at the moment. Bruce Barnes limping back to pit lane. But everybody else seems to have got through relatively unscathed. Luke Mackay has unfortunately pulled into pit lane this time around. So let's have a look at how all this garbage unfolded here. I'll contact 1, 2, and watch this. Bang. 3,
not holding the brakes.
4,
3, 4,
5,
5 6.
People would know where to go. Gaps closing up, room running out. It was a knock-on effect, unfortunately, Joe.
Yeah, I think he got in there, but it was a closing gap. And, unfortunately, just the slightest contact at turning sideways. And, we seen it at the start of the last race. Unfortunately, yours truly probably caught one of the worst of that one. But, that quite a few drivers involved in that one, which is unfortunate. And it's put a bit of a gap in the field there, I think. There's... we're from about 9th and 10th back there. I'm just trying to see there. It's a bit fuzzy on my screen, but that's unfortunately there's 6 guys there involved, but I'm sure they'll get through to the end. So what have we got? Tristan Koch here. He's chasing down William Yarwood, one of Australia's leading lights in karting for probably the last 25 years. Is involved with the club, which is great to see. He was always a tough competitor on the karting scene. He's and he's enjoying his foray into sim racing. I was talking to him about a month ago or so, and he was saying how much he's enjoying it and finding it, probably not as competitive as karting, but certainly a lot cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely. Fastest lap of the race for the 099, 129.10. So that's Sean Benetti. Sorry, Adam.
Race control trying to send the message at the same time. There's what they try to send through.
10-second penalty for Braden O'Loughlin for the unsafe rejoin with Bruce Barnes. That'll be all that garbage that unfolded over the back of the circuit on lap 1. Adam Bryant still leads the way. Sean Benetti second. Dean Eldridge, Stephen Brooks and Neil Gladwin the top 5. The Aussies are 2 for 145. Kawaja has joined Warner in the pavilion, and now it's Labuschagne and Smith to the rescue. 4 minutes gone here. We're looking at lap times around about that minute and a half marker. So, I mean, let's be fair thinking about this. A minute and a half goes beautifully into 3 minutes twice, into 21 14 times. But with the fact that we're this side of the 1 minute 30 threshold, we may get back to the line with a couple of seconds on the clock to sneak an extra one in. So 14 at the minimum, 15 at the maximum, provided we don't get a safety car. Let's see what the pace provides.
Yeah, up the front there's a fairly even spread back through. They're getting about 1.4, 1.8 seconds between sort of first back through to about fifth. Gladwin's a little bit closer on the back of Eldridge at the moment. Daniel Correa, he's running back in 14th at the moment. So he's pretty handy in the GT3. The one round I did race, I know he got by me pretty early and was the last I've seen of him. So he'll want to get up there a little bit further than where he is now.
Indeed he will. There's that tight, challenging chicane at the back end of the circuit. Round they go. The sweeping downhill left-hander. And then quickly on the brakes for the next of the chicanes. A little bit more challenging that one in terms of you've got to actually take a little bit more speed off to get through it. It's a bit more of a 90-degree angle chicane. Overtaking opportunities also at a premium around here as well, Trucker.
It is. It's quite...
So no further action for Braden O'Loughlin with the contact with Brett Bradbury on lap 1 either. And now the elbows are out and the gloves are off. Kevin Coleman's in a sandwich there with Dean Eldridge to one side and Stephen Gallacher to the other. Now they come back to the main straight. Neil Gladwin at the front of this train.
He's about the only car that's making any forward progress. He's up 2 positions already from his start of 6, whereas Eldridge, he's dropped, I think, 4 positions there.
Well, Matt Schmidtke's up 4, it's important to note as well, down in 14.
Schmidtke, he's a bit further back.
Oh, here he is. They're all...
Oh, no!
Oh, it's on here.
So Schmidtke drops to 15th. Correa's got up in front of him. Tim Fuge is also up 4 spots in 16th place. They've displaced James Franco. Greg Heaney's a couple of further back. -2. Off.
Gallacher.
Off goes
like
Stephen Gallacher. That is not a good look for Stephen Gallacher. That's not a good sign.
He was very slow to get on track there. There was no cars beside him. He may have picked up damage and whatever has sent him back tumbling down the field. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happened to him there in a minute.
Samuel Sproul a non-starter tonight. Joe Baldwin a non-starter. They're in the server, but of course Baldwin's in the booth. I'm not sure where Sproul is hanging out. Aidan Schultz out early on. Bruce Barnes a lap down. Greg Padgett a lap down, but we've got a cracker of a race going on at the top end of town. Mark Foster now off the road. This is what happened to Gallacher. Too deep.
Grabbed
loses the rear end.
Yep, he's grabbed the curve on the inside, unsettled the car, and he's still got a fair bit of brake there. It's tighter. Oh, and Simon James has done the exact same thing. Yep. I think same corner.
I think you're right.
Corner earlier. Yeah, it's a real. You got to carry pace through there, but it's. Oh, here we go again.
Oh, no. Bang into the wall.
Aaron Bryan.
No. So he's going to lose some ground there as a result of that, and that's going to drop him down the order to 26th. It's on in earnest here as well. Oh no, more contact. Go on, Mark Foster.
I think he might have. He got up the inside, and I think he looked from that angle. He might have pulled right to avoid contact, and he's grabbed that curb, which is same again. We've just seen 4 cars do it. They unsettled car, make that 5 cars. Here's again, Neil Gladwin.
Oh,
That's the replay.
now
from
that
before, so.
yeah, now Gladwin was running third. Gladwin was running fourth, I should say.
That was a new one.
It was like 3 corners ago, just then.
Yep.
Oh, no.
So Gladwin drops down the order onto possibly the tow rope, I've got the feeling, in pit lane. So the rate of attrition has climbed dramatically in the last 3.5 minutes. Now another interesting talking point here, boys. Out on the circuit at the moment, top 4, Ferrari, Porsche, McLaren, Mercedes, right? There's a BMW in the form of William Yarwood in 8th. There's 5 manufacturers. Daniel Correa's out there in the Lamborghini in 11th. There's 6 manufacturers. Brian Bullock's repping the Audi, 7 manufacturers. And then all the way down in 30th place, Luke Mackay in the Ford, 8 manufacturers. I think it might be one of the very first times that we've had all 8 manufacturers being represented on the grid this year. Great to see.
Prospect boys are going to have trouble following this one.
They are indeed. Adam Bryant
Good, yeah.
leads by 2 points to 0.9 seconds to Medici and Brooks. But this is the battle we're watching here. Ryan Wooden in 6th place. He's got William Yarwood, Kelvin Little, Adam Holland, Tristan Kosh, Daniel Correa and Tim Fuge for company, and not too far behind that, Matt Schmidtke, James Francone, Greg Heaney and Brian Bullock. Log jam. Have a look at how good's curb cam when they're all bowling on over it. Hey, how about that?
Adam's got all the good camera work. I'll tell you one thing that's certainly standing out that hopefully the pro boys are aware of straight away is stay off the curbs around here. They're obviously a lot sharper than some of the other circuits that we visit, and they just aren't settled these. They're very stiffly sprung, these cars, so hitting those sharper curbs, which is only going to get worse. I'm not sure whether or not you're aware, but they're going to update all curbs to 3D modelling. It's only a 2D model at the moment in iRacing. So once they bring in the sawtooth 3D curbing, it's going to change the characteristics of a lot of the circuits and where you can and can't cut curves. It's something to look forward to.
Like
another game changer.
It'll be a 3-phase thing tonight, because tonight it'll be the cars are stiffly sprung. Also, this is an older scan track, so some of the curves might be a little bit rough than they look, because there might be some little glitches in the scan. So just a little bit of thing where the guys go about being one of the more seasoned tracks on iRacing that doesn't get enough use.
Yeah, the section they're coming up to now, this little switchback chicane down the end of this straight, you've only got to be a couple of inches too far to the right, and it's like a BMX jump there on the right hand side, those 3 little nubs, and they spit you off onto the left and into the wall quick as you get them. So it's certainly got to stay off the curbs around here, like you say, Adam, for all those reasons. Oh, we got Sean Reed.
Sean's about to show you. I think he's about to show you.
Touch the grass. That
was the final corner.
That was a 3-part incident.
He got the trifecta.
Yeah.
Grass.
And, he got the curve. Yep. Now, 258 the Aussies, just so you're aware, ladies and gentlemen. 226 required there. No update to the Matilda, still 1-0 there at the moment from all reports. Kelvin Little in 8th place. Tristan Kosh, you're right, he's dropped down the order dramatically. This might explain it. Here.
He just... and then got pushed out of the way for his trouble.
So, he was trying to redress for the Lambo that he'd punted off the circuit, which I think was Daniel... No, it wasn't Daniel Correa, it was the other one.
Mitch McIntyre, was it?
Actually, no, it would have been Correa, my apologies. Yeah,
It wasn't Correa.
No. Who? Oh, Francone, Ferrari. Sorry, no. It was a Ferrari, not a Lambo. Right. Fuge is gone. Fuge has collected the gravel on the outside, just kept it off the wall.
Well done, Tim.
And you're right, Tristan, as a result of, giving Francone a helping hand, got a helping hand himself, which I mean, it'll be treated as two separate incidents in the eyes of race control, so we may still get pinged for the first one. It's unlucky.
He is so lucky there that he hasn't collected the outside wall. He's just kept it off by inches. Oh, Tim, well done. I mean, it's he just showed there those little sawtooth bits that they kicked him right up off the ground with this Porsche. It's typical Porsche. They're all sprung very stiff in the rear where they carry the engine, but that was a little bit of the supercross, that one, going over the bumps.
Now 2-0 in favour of the Matildas. So a must-win situation, and they're answering the challenge beautifully at the moment. I was going to have money on the draw, Joe. I was going to have money on the draw and hope that Ireland beat Nigeria by 2 so that Matildas would go through second and Canada would go through first. But I'm not going to get my wish if things stay as they are. The Ashes and the World Cup, both to look forward to when we're done here. We're at Circuit Park Zolder. We're watching Adam Bryant dominate at the moment. Sean Benici going with him punch for punch. They got a second and a half on Stephen Brooks. Then Kevin Coleman, Dean Eldridge and William Yar with the top 6. Ryan Wood in his 7th. Kelvin Little, Adam Holland and Matt Schmidt in the top 10. Off goes Greg Heaney in the Ferrari.
He's got the wall pretty hard too. He's got a bunch of damage on that car. I'd say he'll probably head through the pits by looking at that one.
It's going to be carbon copy. It's going to be carbon copy. Oh, no, he didn't quite get it.
It's given a snap and he's found the wall.
Now, just elaborate for us, Adam. This is the AM split, and it's a sprint race. So there's one fast repair, is there?
Yeah, they got fast repair, these guys. But when we go to the pro splits, they're fast repair.
They don't.
Free.
That's right. So anyone that comes undone in similar fashion in the pro split tonight is probably sitting in pit lane for the balance of the evening. Here, you're going to see a few cars sitting, well, mainly a lap down as a result of having to transit the pit lane in a race where there's no compulsory pit stop requirements. So any mistake comes with an attached invoice. We've said that a few times before, and a few people have worn the wrath of that tonight. Mitch McIntyre, nice recovery. He was supposed to start 19th, started pit lane, has worked his way back to 17th at the moment. We're watching Ryan Wooden in 7th, chasing William Yarwood. Great to see William actually at the Ipswich Kart Club a few weeks back.
I did see the photo you had with him up on Facebook.
And he will be out there again this weekend as well, no doubt, for the latest round 6 of the club championship for the Ipswich Kart Club. I'll be endeavouring to get out there again in some way, shape or form, either as a spectator or commentator going forward. Good little racetrack and a great kart club.
Adam's just switched to Brian Bullock. Has he made a mistake? I was just about to point out. He's my player of the day so far. He was up at that point 14 positions, but he's just dropped behind Daniel and Gallagher, which is, he'll find that frustrating after climbing up 14 positions, but he's back to 12.
And there's Christian Kosher's invoice coming for the 10-second penalty that he's just copped for that incident that turned into 2 incidents for the price of 1 down at the back of the circuit when he turned James Francone around.
Yeah, and your 2 other big movers, Zach, at the moment is Matt Schmidtke. He's gone 19th to 10th, and Zamora and Watson. Maynard as well. He's up. Yep. He's up 9.
Dale Sharp's up 8 as well. Important to note.
So there's quite a few big movers here. Probably the guys that didn't get enough practice or qualify as they would have liked, and it's a struggle this place to find your pace and stay off the curbs. As we've seen, even during the race, a lot of guys have had trouble here. So, a few guys there making some big moves.
And some circuits are easier to pick up than others, Joe. We've spoken at length at that in the past. You mentioned a moment ago the importance of practice. Look at Benici now, really hassling Bryant through the back section of the circuit. So this is for the lead. And this is also for trouble on the exit. Lap car there.
Benici's teammate as well.
Almost getting in the way. You mentioned earlier, drivers practice. Some drivers will pick it up quicker than others. Some drivers need that time from a mental standpoint more than anything else, Joe, just to get their head around the circuit and be comfortable, ready to go racing. And it's showing if you're one of those drivers that can just jump in and adapt and go with it, then, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a good night at the office. If you're one of those drivers and you don't get the practice in and you're one of those drivers that needs the practice, it goes up in smoke, and it usually goes up in spectacular fashion.
Like we just seen there, unfortunately, I tell you what, Adam Bryant needed to go and buy himself a lotto ticket after that one. That was within inches of getting killed in an accident that he wasn't involved with. That was very, very lucky for our leader. I'm sure Sean would have held his breath seeing that car come across in front of Adam at the same time.
Dale Sharp pointed out something on socials earlier between races that when we were talking to Sam Chapman, that stable internet is quite vital. How right he is.
Absolutely. You've got to have good internet. So it's I don't know. I've been on Wi-Fi here for a couple of years, but I've got my little Wi-Fi box is only about 2.5 feet from the PC. I'm at the other end of the house from the main box, so I'm lucky I've got them boosters. But it seems to work for me. I haven't had to use the phone for a long time.
So 3 laps to go. Hit this 1 and 2 more. They're coming back to the line this time by. Where are we on the clock, Adam? We should be this side of 3 minutes. Two laps to go. So next time, there's no white flag there at the moment. 2 laps to go. We'll get to 15. As I said, the fact that they're lapping 28 to 29s, we're going to get back to the line somewhere in the vicinity of 10, 11 seconds ahead of that 21-minute marker. So we'll get that extra lap in. Well worth the price of admission. 15 laps around Zolder, first up on a Monday night.
Oh, Brian, no.
Brian Bollock's good run.
Up through the field, his good run's just about come to an end.
Joe, welcome to the gift of the gab. That's what we call a commentator's curse.
That's absolutely right. I won't do it to him again next time I'm in here with you. I'll just leave him be. So that's unfortunate for Brian. He was having a good clean race up till the last couple of laps, and as soon as we went to him, he lost 2 spots, and now he's just lost a few more.
3-way fight for the lead here. Have a look at this. Where did Stephen Brooks come from? Lap traffic's about to get involved in this as well, but Stephen Brooks has latched onto the back of Benici and Bryant. A lap and a half to go. In fact, not even that. They'll get the white flag this time.
Brett Bradbury, he's a fairly handy. They may not get to him, but hopefully if they do, Brett's he's a pretty clever character. He'll step aside and let those leaders go by if they get close enough. So there we go. White flag waving. Away we go. This is going to be a great finish, Zach.
Don't tell me this bloke's actually doing his job for a change. How about that? Very nice. So
he's not eating my donuts.
No, he's actually making his presence known for a change. Very nice. And not before time either. Right, 3-way fight. How difficult overtaking around here. We've already seen a few moves executed tonight, but it is a narrow, tight circuit, similar, despite all the open, free-flowing, long straights that it's got. The corners are tight, therefore executing an overtake is difficult. And Stephen Brooks will put it in the dirt. I think might be able to consolidate second now, and he might be happy with that. He might not get the opportunity to latch onto Bryant close enough to have a crack. Bryant's controlled the brace beautifully. There's only been one change in the top 4. It has been Brooks on Eldridge. Way back earlier in the piece. It's going to be 3 manufacturers in the top 4, but 5 in the top 6 with the Mercedes of Coleman and the BMW of Yarwood not too far away. Case of what might have been for Neil Gladwin and a few others throughout the course of the night. There has been some attrition here, but they're all about to get a second chance. Last turn, checkered flag. Adam Bryant. Shell colours on a Ferrari and a nice red and yellow livery. There's just something that feels wrong about that. He gets the job done. Stephen Brooks!
Oh, wow.
Stephen Brooks with the run to the line. Pips Sean Benici at the post, the only overtake we've seen in the top 3 all night. Benici pipped, Brooks up 2 spots, sends himself back to 9th for the next race, but Bryant got the job done. Benici from nowhere snatches 3rd from the jaws of 2nd, And it was all set up here off the last corner. It wasn't the cleanest run off the final corner for Benici, and Brooks made him pay the price. What about that? You said it about half a lap ago, Trucker. You thought Brooks's dash was done, but it would appear he had other ideas.
See, the commentator's curse just,
it's not you, it's usually Grant
reverse card, that one. He did. He lost about 3/10 when he grabbed that curb earlier on, and but he's made Sean Benici pay for having a bad exit through that last chicane. Just got him by 1/10 and a half at the line. Actually, not even that. Try 5/100ths of a second. He beat him to the line by. So yeah, well done to Stephen Brooks. That was a great move.
Indeed, it was. That was absolutely brilliant.
And less than a second between the top three at the line as well. So yeah, great driving by those three guys. Well done.
I don't know whether it was you or Adam that said it 15 minutes ago, but the Pro Boys will have their work cut out for them tonight to try and top that. There are the results. Bryant Brooks Benici, 3 Bs. Then the Eldridge, Coleman, Yarwood trio, 4th, 5th and 6th. Wooden was 7th. Little, Holland and Schmidtke made up the top 10. Good recovery in the end from Matt Schmidtke. Daniel Correa, Stephen Gallacher, after running off the circuit earlier in the piece. And Fuge, Sharp, McIntyre, Frencone, Zamora, Watson, Porter, and Foster and Bullock made up the top 20. That was good fun. We're going to a break. We hope you enjoyed that. That was the GT3 M Series with thanks to Waste Options. We'll let you know the results of race 2 very shortly, but on the other side of a quick break, we're jumping into the prize split. We're going racing there for the feature race over 37 minutes. The pit stops will come into the equation. So too the invert, which around here won't be difficult to overturn. Will be difficult to overturn. Won't be easy to overturn because of the difficulty of the overtaking. So some strategic play, some gamesmanship will come into the equation here over the course of the next 37 minutes. That's next. It's Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, where the Matildas lead 2-0 as well, and the Aussies are 2 for 164. See you soon. Monday night motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. We started at the Circuit de Jerez in Spain. We've jetted across to Zolder, Circuit Zolder in Belgium. We've had a cracking opening instalment of Waste Options GT3 with the AM split, and now we're going to ramp it up a notch with the Pro split. Well, that's if they can ramp it up a notch after what the AM split boys delivered with Waste Options GT3 Pro and their feature race from round 4 of Term 3. Zach Cabin, Joe Baldwin with you still, and Adam Lavis as well. Nice to have you along for the ride if you're just joining us. Great to have you here for Monday Night Motorsport, the final one of July, week 4 of Term 3. And after this round, just 6 rounds left until we're crowning champions once more. Aidan Schultz, GT3 on baseline was okay, but GT4 at Zolder baseline is not the go. So sorry to all involved in the incident. Well, hang on. I think he meant that the other way around because GT3 was at Zolder and GT4. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Good on you, Schultz. Good to have your opinions and insights as per usual. Joe, there's the circuit. Temperature a little bit cooler for these guys, 24 degrees and 19 the ambient. We've progressed along to 5:30 in the afternoon. Look at that, it's still daylight. It's beautiful. We're getting ready for race 2 here after race 1 was, surprise, surprise, won by the McLaren and Matty Dench, who leads the championship at the moment.
I tell you what, these guys are going to have to put on one hell of a race in this one to top what we just seen with the AM split. That was a fantastic race, especially that last couple of corners. So, yeah, well done to them guys again. But we've got a couple of big guns starting up the front of this one here that have been coming through the clubs in Sam Sproul and Richard King. But the championship at the moment, Denchy seems to have a pretty good stranglehold on this one for being as early in the series as it is, Zach.
Yeah, and that's despite not having the best round here. Well, the opening round, I should say, not having the best opening round in this championship campaign, which was, again, a sprint round. The sprint racing seems to be his Achilles heel still, but he is slowly but surely trying to turn that around. Simon Cox on 134 points, Nick Wood 123, and Alan Holgerson 110, Wayne Hewitt 101 made up the top 5, Brock Kelly, Chuk Fung Wong, Richard Mitchell, Oscar Gillespie and Glenn Arnott made up the top 10. Now, important to note that that was the point score before that race that was just run, and there are the results from that race. Oh, sorry, there are the results from qualifying earlier in the piece. Oscar Glissett pipping Matty Dench 5.058 of a second. Tight margins in the fight for pole tonight, no doubt about that. Brock Kelly, Nick Wood, Simon Cox, Matt Distill, Glenn Arnott, Richard King, Wayne Hewitt, and Martin Carew made up the top 10 in that opening race. Samuel Sproul was 12th, and that's important to note because in race 1, he got home in 10th. He gets the invert for race 2. Dench, Glissett, Cox, Distill and Arnott made up the top 5 in that first race. 2.1 the winning margin for Dench. Controlled it nicely once he got to the front. Carew in 6th, Jared Knight, Thomas Martin, Richard King and Samuel Sproul made up the top 10. How long can Sproul and King control this race at the top end of town in race 2? They start at the front for it. It's a field of 28. No Brock Kelly. The front row. Samuel Sproul and Richard King, Thomas Martin and Jared Knight the second. Martin Cruz on the third row alongside Glenn Arnott. And the fourth row is Matt Distill and Simon Cox. The fifth row, Oscar Glissett and Matty Dench. Sixth row, Reece Dickerson, Ryan Mulder. Seventh row, Ben Woods and Chuk Fung Wong. Row 8 is where you'll find John Wright alongside Jeff Adams. Row 9, David Christensen and Nick Wood. Row 10, Adam Burhop and Adam Chiplin. Then we go a little bit further back. Row 11 is Dave Riddell and Rob Hill. Row 12, Jonathan Hooper and Wayne Hewitt. Row 13, Alan Dawson and Jaden Aitchison. Row 14, Scott Wooden and John Jennings. And beyond that, row 15 is the non-starter of Brock Kelly. So that's the rest of the field dished up for you. And we're ready to rock and roll here. A feature race. Round 4 of the championship.
I think we're going to have
25 laps the distance here, Joe.
Yeah, I think we're going to have big eyes on where Matt can come up through. This is, as we were saying in the last race, it's a fairly difficult circuit to pass, but we know how wily Matt and Oscar as well. Oscar Glissett, he's pretty handy himself. I think Denchy may have a little bit in the racecraft, but he's certainly got the raw pace as he proved in qualifying. So be interested to see how those guys can come up through the field. So long as the guys in the mid and front part of the starting grid here stay off the curbs and keep the car straight, don't make accident, have any incidents, and have a nice clean pit stop, they they should do it right. But we know what Denchi's like at saving fuel, especially in races like these that are reverse grid. So he'll jump a couple in the pits, I'm sure.
Indeed he will. Ready for a start. Richard King and Samuel Sproul to bring the field to green. Let's see how early they hit the gas and get going. Race options, GT3, Monday Night Motorsport, feature race for the Pro Split is green.
Sam didn't waste any time getting on the throttle there. He wants to get rid of that overlap down at turn 1. Richard King's tucked right in underneath him at the moment. Just cold tyres, just get through the first lap or so, let the tyres come up to temperature, and just minimise the mistakes.
Dench has got by Glissett. Glissett wants to force the issue on the outside. Dench is going to try and stick there on the inside. Can't do it. Glissett covers it off. So Sproul covered off King, but King did a nice job to get in behind him very quickly to keep Martin and Knight at bay. Arnott and Carew were swapped around. So too Cox.
Glissett's in it. In the boards.
Glissett and Cox are gone.
Yeah, he went for a late move there.
Chicane.
He almost had it done, but there was just a bit of corner-to-corner contact, I think. I'm sure Adam will have a replay of that one as we get a lap or so in. We'll go back and revisit it. But, just he got in there and I think maybe just didn't quite pull it up and give the room. So, unfortunate there for Oscar and, a couple of guys there got involved. But that's, it's certainly a bit of a freebie for Denchi. That's put him up 2 positions. He's running in 8th now.
Indeed he is. And he won't wait for a second invitation. He'll take everyone presented to him in a situation like this. So John Wright sits there in 13th. He's on screen at the moment. A lot of big movers in the positive direction on the opening lap by virtue of that incident down at the chicane. Sproul leads King. Knight is tucked in behind Martin, 3rd and 4th. Then Arnott and Carew 5th and 6th, just still in 7th. Then Dench is 8th. You got BMWs and McLaren's in the top 10, but you got 6 Porsches to contend with as well at the moment. Lap 2 at 25. Sproul the fastest lap of the race. 1:31.7. Leads by 1.5 already. How long can it control this race for?
We've already got... there's not really any big movers other than Rob Hill's come up 3. Kiplin's come up 3 spots. Nick Wood's up 3 spots, but no big movers at this stage. Denchi, he's 2. So, I think Glissett dropping back through the field. Oh, he's going back another couple.
And Jonathan Hooper got muscled out there as well. They went outside, inside to get by Hooper. Dave Riddell up to 20th.
So Wayne Hugh must have had an incident in the first race. He's a bit further back in the pack than we used to.
Yeah, he's down in 24th place. He started. He's now 21st. Chook Fung Wong off. And in the wall.
On the straight line.
That's a bizarre one. He's going nowhere but pit lane. Jared Knight, the fastest lap of the race, 1:28.411. It's all happening here at the moment.
Brook could be disappointed in that. He's another guy we were talking before about a couple of the guys that have been steadily improving. He's made a lot of jumps in his performance as well, so he'll be disappointed with that. He would have been looking for a good showing tonight. So Adam Burhop with the hella painted Porsche at the moment. Where's he running? 17th, so he's up a couple of positions from his start. He's got Hill just behind him, about 7/10 behind, and it's been a little bit argy-bargy early on in the race. Here's this incident with Simon, and he'd come from a long way back. He was never going to pull that car up. Oh, Oscar, that's unfortunate for Coxie as well. So I'm not sure. What did he get? 15 seconds for his incident with that one for race control.
And that was Jake Jennings going through there as well and causing a contretemps. I mentioned that we saw the Jonathan Hooper Porsche leaping. That's why. That explains it. He was the one that returned.
Off to the
Fung Wong and Hooper both in the lane, and Fung Wong's just come back out after 47 seconds. That was what happened to him.
You might have had a slow down
still bizarre. Yeah, and still very bizarre. 128.411 for Jared Knight, fastest lap of the race thus far. Drinks at the Oval, Australia 3 for 175. Yes, 3 for 175, with Labuschagne gone as well, joining Warner and Kawaja. It's been England's morning there, but rain might still save the day for the Aussies just yet. And the Matildas still leading 2-0 as well. Sproul, King, Martin, Knight, Arnott, Carew, the top 6 here. That incident that we mentioned there earlier, Joe, for Glissett and Cox, I mean, they're down 16 spots apiece, respectively. Car number 64 has punched out the fastest lap of the race thus far, and that's Simon Cox charging back through the field with a bit of red mist having descended. And he'll be like a bear with a sore head at the moment, I could imagine. He won't be pleased. But
he won't be happy at all. No.
That is trademark 101 sprint racing for you. There's always drama because when you invert the field, the gloves come off, the intensity lifts because the pressure increases tenfold.
And there's so much to gain by having the reverse grid. It puts those guys that had the good race in the first one, at a real disadvantage. They feel it's a disadvantage, but they've gained points in the first race. You've just got to consolidate it, race clean, try and let people make mistakes around you, and don't make them yourself. And unfortunately, Coxon was a bit of an innocent bystander in that one. And Oscar, I don't know whether he thought he was going to give the room or miss his braking marker, but it's a perfect example of why you just got to keep your head in these reverse grid races and keep it as clean as you can. So, because you can gain a little bit, but you can lose so much by just trying to rush it. And unfortunately, that's what you see. The guys have dropped 17 positions, and they're making it a lot easier for Denchi overall in the championship. So, and we've lost Feng Wong as well. He's left the service, so terminal damage for him, I'd imagine.
I would imagine so. And when you've got no fast repairs at your disposal, there's no point sitting in the pit lane if you're not going to get back out on the racetrack. We've seen that rodeo far too many times before. Samuel Sproul, Richard King, Thomas Martin, then Jared Knight and Glenn Arnott. 3 Porsches, 2 Bimmers, the top 5. And the Porsche of Martin Carew. Bimmer, Matt just still getting by Carew at the moment, and Matty Dench still there in 8th place in the McLaren. But what's he got up his sleeve? What trick card is he about to play?
Fast lap.
He saw it on Thursday night. In
Brown?
the Porsche.
He's put in a good driver here. He's got not quite 3 seconds from Richard King, and Thomas Martin's all over him like a cheap suit at the moment. He's making Richard work for it. So, this is going to be an interesting one. If he can keep the pressure on Richard, it'll make for a good run home. Jared Knight, Dench is up another spot. He's up to 7th now. So, and he's right on Matt Distle's tail at the moment. So, he's making his way through. And with a mistake by those other couple of guys that he's battling in the championship with, there's probably not the urgency there for him to get to the front on a track as difficult pass as this without making any mistakes.
Yep.
As we
Tip
go
your hat to anyone that doesn't make a mistake, though, for that very reason! Just like that!
And he's got the wall for his trouble as well. What position was he running in when that one happened, actually, Adam? I missed it on the thing. Not sure. Yeah, that's going to be a trip through pit lane. There'll be right front damage on that car, and so that'll be a disappointing end of the night for him. So John Wright up to 13th.
Yep.
Got Nick Wood on his tail.
Oscar Glissett now punching out the fastest lap of the race as well, boys. 127.991.
I've already lost count how many different drivers have put the fastest lap in so far.
Yeah, there's been a few. There have been a few changes to the benchmark, which has been lowered, and it's been lowered by several competitors thus far. And there are bonus points on the line for it. We know that. And every point makes a difference in this title fight. Whoa, more trouble brewing here. Wayne Hewitt almost getting into the side of the car immediately in front of him, Adam Chiplin. And Adam Burhop's there as well. Rob Hill and Dave Riddell want a piece of it too. Burhop just going through the bottom of the screen. Then Chiplin. Then Hewitt, Hill, Riddell.
Goes to the level that it's jumped. I think it wasn't so many seasons ago. Dave Riddell was an absolute front runner in GT3s week in, week out. And Yeah, he's now running the 15th to 20th mark, and I'm absolutely certain he hasn't lost any pace. It just, the new guys to the club and gaining a lot of speed. Just the competitiveness of the GT3 class has just gone up probably a couple of levels over the last. Oh, that's a big jump over the curb. Oh, it's just. Dench is coming down to the right-hander.
Whoa.
Out
Wait
wide in the
for
grass.
it.
Hang on. Hang on to it.
Good save.
Very smart there. As soon as you get out in the grass like that, you've got to lift off. You stay in the throttle edge, you come off the grass onto the black stuff. The car will decide where it wants to go, not where you want to put it. If you lift off like Denchy did there, you'll get a nice easy run back on. A lot safer that way. Distal into the pits. First of the front runners to stop. So I think he pitted out of 7th. So early stop for Distal. We've got here Carew in 7th. So he's about, I'd say, a bit over a second behind Dench, who's probably going to lose the draft. But Dench is certainly making forward moves now. He's got Glenn Arnott in his sights.
Sproul, Martin, King, Knight, Arnott and Dench, the top 6 at the moment. Carew and Dickerson, Woods and Mulder and Adams, that's the top 11. But, as Joe has already said, pit stops are underway. And Matt is still back out of the lane after spending 19.4 seconds in the box. This was his entrance to pit lane. I think you'll see. Whoa.
It's a bit like Canada because you can go faster in the lane. So it's one of those things you don't really want to be behind someone when you want to do your stop. So you actually better be in the car in front so that you can maximise the entrance and get that maximise in-lap.
Jonathan Hooper out of the race, so too Truk Fung Wong. And Matt is still back out there last at the moment, but everyone ahead of him still to pit. Wayne Hewitt down the inside. Wayne Hewitt! Nicely done. On the inside of Chiplin. Just 16th. Next target, Adam Burhoff.
That was a nice clean move too. Got his intentions in early, got up alongside and really didn't give Chiplin any right of reply there. So Dench is up another spot. He's up to 5th. A nice clean move on Glenn Arnott. Same deal. Got get the move done early with a flame sticking out the back of that car.
Sprouters went off. Sprouters had a moment at turn 2.
Oh, Sprouters just gone off. He's probably lucky he had a fair bit of a lead there. He's dropped back now to 4 seconds. I think he lost a couple of seconds there. He goes, picked up a big understeer through the right-hander. Just, it might have cost him about a second, I'd say, but that was, just a big understeer with the Porsche. And once it starts, you've just got to lift off and re-weight the front tyres to get it to turn.
And Sproul still leads this race by 4.2 seconds as Jake Jennings comes to pit lane. This is on replay.
So
No,
we've got another Winton situation. The pit lane's slow enough it actually triggers the thing.
Gotcha.
Righto.
Gotcha. Righty up. So no incidents happening on pit lane that we can tell at this point in time. It's just a trigger at Adam's end that's saying, hang on, there's something happening, when actually it's just a car driving through into pit lane. Good one, iRacing. Thanks very much. Main straights. Lap 9 done. On to lap 10 we go. Getting under pressure from Martin and Knight and Dench now. 2, 3, 4 and 5.
Back in the pack there, we got Hewitt. He's at 8 spots. He's 9, mate. No, made that 9 spots. He's just made another move. Burhop's in the pits. That's why he's just got by Burhop when he's ducked into the pits. So, so Hewitt's having a pretty good run here. He's probably our biggest mover forwards at this stage. Ben Woods is up 4 positions. Jeff Adams is up 5. It's probably a little bit muddled now that pit stops are coming into it. But, it gives you an idea of the guys who are making headway in this race. And Dench up 5, obviously, from his 10th starting position after winning race 1.
Richard King has opened the floodgates. There they go. 1, 2 and 3 as well. All from the simplest of mistakes.
He must have got the wall, has he? It looked like he gave those positions up pretty easy. So what's he done here?
I think he might just missed his... Oh, he's grassed.
Yep.
Oh, he's got to slow down. Oh, that's
Straight
about
through the
it.
chicane.
2.5 seconds slow down that one, I think, from memory. So he's going to be filthy on that one. He was having such a good race too. But he's still got a top 5 in him if he gets his head down, and especially with Denchi in front of him, he's probably in a position now where he can watch and learn. Yeah, learn from the master. What is he, 6-time champion now, I think, was it?
Correct, yep. And looking good for number 7 as well.
So certainly the class of the field, a lot can be learnt by getting in behind someone like Matt, just looking at his lines and his breaking points, and yeah, but he'll be disappointed with that, making a mistake there this far into the run, and he probably not that far off making his pit stop too. So I would, me personally, I would have, if I'd made a mistake like that, I would have ducked straight into the pits to bunch it all into one spot. But I'm not Richard.
I know.
Oscar
Glissett. Oscar Glissett bites the dust. That was on his run into pit lane.
If he goes into the pits from there, will he risk getting a pit lane infringement?
That's a good point.
Unsafe entry.
Possibly so, Joe. We'll follow that with interest as he sits there. 17, 18, 19 seconds, possibly. Everyone else has been stopping for 13 or 14, so I think Glissett might be done. Well picked up.
He's got so he's picked up the dreaded entry there. It's,
oh, no.
Dawson's making crop circles.
Yeah, crop circles out there. Yeah, no, that's unfortunate for Oscar. That he had a great qualifying, a great run in race 1, but it's certainly all come undone for him in race 2.
Matilda's now up 3-0, by the way.
It's one of those things, you've got to minimise your mistakes, especially when you're in a championship battle with the likes of Matty Dench. You can't be making mistakes like this. You may as well engrave the trophy yourself with Dench's name. You've got to minimise those mistakes.
100%. So, the tail of the tape at the moment is that we've got Simon Cox, Reeks Dickerson and Nick Wood all on pit road, all completing their stop at the moment. Oscar Glissett's got back out there, but he's a lap down. He was stopped for a minute and what was it? He was stopped for 52 seconds, Oscar Glissett, 29 for John Jennings. Jake Naturson's still on pit road and has been for 4.5 minutes. He's done. Jonathan Hooper and Chook Fung Wong are parked up for the night. Simon Cox is sitting there having rejoined the race after a 12.2 second pit stop in 23rd place, 15 down on where he started. The good news for Simon, top 17 yet to stop in this car race. We've got Jared Knight, Matty Dedge, Thomas Martin, all heading back to the main straight for another lap to complete lap 12. Almost half race distance. Sproul leads, does so by 5.7. Then this battle, Knight, Dench, Martin, King and Arnott. Is Samuel Sproul in a position to be comfortable? To get the job done here? Is 6 seconds a bit too much for these blokes? Even M. Dench to claw back. We are about to find out over the course of the next 12.5 laps.
Dench was wide coming out 2 there, so in the transition there, so he's lost a little bit of time to Jared in this lap. He'll make it back up because we all know how phenomenal he is on the exits of the course.
I can be a little bit sneaky and tell you this. I'm actually on board with Denchi at the moment in my own headset. He's not saving fuel at all. He's going for it. So he whether or not he's saved early enough that he thinks he can jump Jared in the pits. What are they? He's about 6 seconds behind Sam. So I don't know how he will go have a 6 second better pit stop, but he's not really saving fuel at the moment. He's certainly on it. So if my bet's on he's going into the pits this lap. If Jared doesn't, he might. Right. We'll see how we go.
All right, keep your eyes on this. We're riding on board with Denchi.
No, he's going around again.
They're all going around again. All right, keep your eyes on that. The top. Glenn Arnott dives in. Everybody else continues on. Richard King, Martin Carew come through. Top 6 going on to lap 14 before they pull the trigger at least. We've got Matty Dench doing great things here. We're riding on board with him and we're just enjoying watching the master at work. He's...
You know, he's one of our top competitors in the club when I can't actually fit all of his championships on the little tabby.
That's right. That's exactly right. It's extraordinary what he's achieved over the greatest period of time. It's been quite a year and a half watching him do what he does.
And
a little bit of fuel saving there.
His iRacing too. If any of those guys at home want to follow along, you've got aliens such as Sam Sproul. He's got a 4800 iRating. Thomas Martin 3.5. He's a lot faster than his 3.5k iRating would lead you to believe. Richard King's 3300. Matthew Dench, a lazy 7200 iRating. So that's you get that iRating by running in the officials, so you know he's fast there and everywhere. Just about everything he drives, we've seen how good he is. So it's it's probably a bit of a pleasure to be able to watch a guy of his calibre involved with the club and do what he does and honing his craft.
Fast start of the race now for the 606 of Samuel Sproul, 127.942. They go around again. That's the start of lap 15.
And this is the first race of the season where we're seeing mid to late race fastest laps. Normally the fastest laps have been done in the first 5 or 6 laps, and then we don't see it again. So tonight, the track must be coming to them.
Well, yeah, exactly. Either the track's coming to them or the tyre wear's not playing as big a role or a part as we would normally expect it to.
I'm actually watching the track temperatures falling at the moment, guys.
That'll do it.
Yeah, only a couple of laps ago it was about 26 degrees. Currently, 23 degrees, 19 air temperature, but 23 degree track temp. So that's where your speed's coming in. The track's cooling off. It's not hard on the tyres, especially at 23 degrees. Mid to low 20s. It's not hard on the tyres, so that's where they're getting their speed late in the race.
I know.
And burning off the fuel too.
Turns 2, 3, and 4 are pretty hard on those left side tyres.
Oh yes, absolutely. So they'd have to be getting close. We got how long have we got left? We've got about I can't see it on mine actually. Sorry.
We've got 10 laps this time by the line. Big crunch for John Jennings.
Oh, John.
Massive crunch on replay there for you. That'll be him done. Sproul's in. Sproul is on pit road. So too Knight.
Jared Knight's in as
Dench
well.
goes on. What a surprise.
They've gone past the fuel bowsers.
Sproul, Knight and Carew all going round into pit lane to complete their compulsory splash and dash. Mulder and Wright as well. That Dench, Martin and King are soldiering on for another lap.
I don't know about you, but looking at this pit lane, I feel like a Pepsi.
Well, yeah. Actually, I've got part of the Pepsi company in my hands at the moment. I've got a nice bottle of 7-Up, actually, in the commentary box tonight. So that's, yeah.
Who's that? That's Carew, I think, the Wooden. Getting some tyres, so taking I assume, be the left sides.
So there goes my argument about maybe tyre wear. Looks like tyres are wearing for some.
If your fuel load is enough that you can cover that one side tyres, or even just one tyre that's like your front left or whatever, it could be a little bit of an advantage after the tyres sort of equalise their pressure after a lap or two.
So what was the stationary time? Sorry, Adam, for Sproul and for Knight. What was the stationary time, so we know what to look for when Matthew comes into the pits?
11.3 for Knight.
Yeah, 12.97 for Sproul, and Carew was 11, even with the tyres.
That's not bad. Not bad at all.
Dench in.
Oh, I was on board there. He ran the speed right up to the marker too. Right on he was.
As only he can. And how many times have we said it over the past? In fact, it's one of the signature commentary comments from our mate Nick Fodiatis. Practice your pit entry, and no one knows it better than Matty Dench. Unfortunately, practicing pit exit has tripped him up a couple of times, but less said about that, the better. Thomas Martin, Richard King, and Matty Dench all on pit road, and Dench gone again.
Starting 10th here, and also with a little gap in the pit lane, he's got plenty of space. So I'm pretty sure he's not going to just gun it here. He'd be doing a limit.
Have a look at it. Have a look at it. Guess who's in front? Dentchy's coming round. Sproul's there as well. Side by side. Sproul is going to get him.
Sproul's still out in front.
Sproul is going to get him. By the narrowest of margins. It's 1.4. There's 9 laps to go. There's 9 laps to go. And the pressure has just increased tenfold on Samuel Sproul, who had 5 seconds to the good before we started the pit lane window.
Well, you know, Dentchy's going to be head down, bum up from here. He'll be putting in qualifying laps from here through to the end. So I'm sure Sproul, he'll want to just push his mirrors out and not even look at it and just do the same. He's, he's in a good position here. So it is a difficult place to pass, as we said earlier on. So no doubt if Dentchy does get to his bumper, he's just got to race smart and make it difficult for Dentchy.
So interesting when they cross the line here, because you can see, so Dentchy on his in lap was 26 seconds faster. So what's the difference when we flip the script on Dentchy's out lap here, when Sproul was out by himself?
He's got it down to 0.9 already.
Well, he's 7 seconds to 26, and then, so what's that? That's 30.
Watch Dentchy go for the fastest lap this time by. He won't get it that time by, obviously, having just come out from the pits. But watch him have a crack at it this time by. 27.942 is the best marker at the moment, set by Samuel Sproul.
That's probably one of his first clear laps he's had since the start of the race too, Zach. He's been mired in traffic right from the start, just sitting back there, saving a bit of fuel. He had a slightly quicker stop, I think, didn't he, Adam? So he's going to be in a good position now. His best lap's only been 2.5 tenths below Sam Sproul.
He just said the fastest sector one of the whole race.
And it was 10.7 the stop as well. He was sub 11 seconds in the pit lane.
Yeah, so he's obviously been saving fuel when he was in behind the other cars early in the race, which gives him that less of an invoice to pay, I suppose you'd say it, when he went into the pit, saving that extra 1.5 seconds over what Sam did.
And that has that explains part of how the deficit decreased and shrunk the way that it did, but it doesn't explain the whole story. The Sproul had a bit more of it could be that he saved a little bit by pushing the limit, pushing the envelope on that pit entry as well, Joe. Every little percenter.
Oh, he was right on the money at the line. And look, he just pulled 0.5 second. Fastest lap, thank you very much. 2 tenths, 127.752 versus Sam's fastest lap of a 27.941. So just shy of 2 tenths faster. Using a little bit of draft from Sam, he's on it. He wants the win.
Indeed he does. And there he goes. So we'll keep an eye on that in a moment. Here's Ryan Mulder up into 11th, having just been displaced by Nick Wood. So he was in the top 10 until that particular moment. Nick Wood up into the top 10 now. 3 Bimmers, 6 Porsches and a McLaren in the top 10. Very dominated by 3 manufacturers. The top end of the tree at the moment. But then beyond that, Mercedes. There are 5 of them in the next 10. And then the first of the Ferraris is only 20th. Only 20th. Not a lot of love for the prancing horse.
I hate to interrupt you, but it's heating up the front. Matt Dench is up around the outside of Sam.
Whoa!
Get up the hairpin.
And any other day of the week, he'd probably have a crack around the outside, but not in a GT3 car, not at Zolder. Now we'll try for the inside of the final corner. No, Sproul covers it off. Now watch turn 1. Watch turn 2 as well, more to the point. Main straight. 19 gone, 6 to go.
And they aren't strangers to each other, because this battle is on Thursday nights in the Porsche Cup as well.
Absolutely. 100%. These guys know how each other operates. He's got the biggest problem for Sproul at the moment, Joe, is that he hasn't got any assistants, any teammates, any dance partners around him. He's got to defend Dench in a one-on-one fight, and that is not an easy task.
Yeah, it's funny. Like same thing. I'm on board with Matt, and the lines they're taking, whether it's Matt's a little bit wide out there near the grass, but their lines are quite different. Where where Matt runs a little bit wide, Matt's tight, and vice versa. So it's Denchi got a bit too much curve there. He's given up about 4 tenths, 5, 6, 7 tenths.
The smallest amount of breathing space shifted back to Samuel Sproul, and the pressure valve relieves just a little bit.
Oh, so we'll be down to probably 4 laps to go. 4, maybe 5 laps, are we?
Off goes Ben Woods.
Oh, Ben.
Off goes Ben Woods. Floodgates open. He drops down to 15th. He was 11th. In fact, he might have been a little bit further up than that, because he's now dropped outside the top 10. So Nick Wood moves up to 9th, Ryan Mulder back into the top 10, and Ben Woods left to rue what might have been. Simple mistakes bringing people undone tonight in a big way. Such is the close proximity of this field. Samuel Sproul and Matty Dench have 5 laps to go. Can Sproul finally get one on Dench? A long way to go, though.
A long way there, but he after Dench's mistake hitting that curve before, he's making it difficult. Dench is slowly catching up through this section.
Sproul just did a PB 27.85. So he maximised Dench's mistake there.
He definitely. So Dench he's probably just Sprouse has made an error through the heavy. Here we go. We've got to move up the front. Dench around the right. He's up the inside for the hairpin. He's got it done.
He set it up beautifully and executed it to a T. Had to be on the outside to put himself on the inside, and Sproul couldn't close the door quick enough.
Unfortunately, I think the chicane beforehand, Sproul just grabbed a little bit too much curb on the exit. The car bounced, and he didn't get the run off, and that's all the help that Denchy needed. So coming down here, so they've got the left, right, and he's just grabbed a bit too much curb there, and knocked 5 kilometres an hour out of it, and he's about half a tenth late on the throttle, and that's all the opening Denchy needed. So, but absolutely valiant drive by Sam Sproul. It's been a great race to watch, but looks like Denchy's probably going to put a little bit of distance there. Keep a bit of insurance, 7 tenths up already. So, made a little bit easier for Matt at the end there. Unfortunate error for Sam Sproul.
It's never easy going up against the best in the club, and they've found that out in the Porsches. They're finding that out in the GT3 as well. You mentioned Wayne Hewitt. He's sitting 13th at the moment. He's got a little bit of breathing space with John Wright. That was another big moment for Ben Woods, and Simon Cox capitalises on that. Simon Cox, not a night to remember for him either. Down 7 spots on where he started in this second race as a result of that contretemps with Oscar Glissett.
He's had a better fight back than Oscar has had.
100%. Glissett down 13 spots. Cox down 7. Biggest movers in the positive direction. 11 for Wayne Hewitt, 9 for Nick Wood, and 9 for Matty Dench. Are we surprised by the latter? Probably not.
No. It's been a good fight back for Coxie. Unfortunately, Oscar made that second mistake early, about 7 or 8, which is it's got him a lap down and probably out of chance of fighting back. But it's good to see. Good to see Simon make a bit of a fight back and get back up there into the points.
Absolutely. I mean, he won't get as far up as he would have liked to, but
no.
Every point's a bonus in that situation. His teammate can speak volumes on and write volumes on just what it's like to be on the receiving end of a night like this, where it all goes belly up in a sprint race invert situation. We've seen it happen to Denchy so many times before.
Just to interrupt there, talk about putting the thumb screws into Sam Sproul.
Oh, hang on, that was
fastest lap, 27.57.
There you go. They're going punch for punch, and Denchy just adds insult to injury and lowers the mark again.
Whoopsies, that was my bad.
And Sproul goes 27.85 and Denchy goes 27.57. How good. Denchy David Christensen just struggling to kick it into gear there. Just going around the grounds for you. Matildas lead 3-0. They're through. They've got 8 minutes to hold on against Canada. They are through to the round of 16. Canada will likely go home because in the 89th minute of the match between Nigeria and Ireland, it's still 0-0. Nigeria need a point. That's all they need. They can take the draw and send Canada packing. Nigeria will set up a date with England at Suncorp Stadium next Monday afternoon. The Matildas will play the following game straight afterwards at Stadium Australia, I think it is, at 8:30 p.m. So that is a huge result and a sigh of relief being breathed by the Socceroos and the Australian public and the promoters of the World Cup and the broadcasters right at this very moment. And the Aussies are 3 for 210, chasing 384 at the Oval and making a good contest of it now that they've slowly but surely bucked the trend that was a smorgasbord of wickets falling in favour of England. They've been able to put a stop to that and stop the rot, and it's Smithy and Travis Head putting on some runs at this point in time. 2 laps to go here. More around the grounds information for you very shortly, but let's focus on this for the moment. Matty Dench, Samuel Sproul, Jared Knight, Thomas Martin and Richard King, the top 5. Martin Carew, Reece Dickerson, Ben Glenn Arnott, Nick Wood and Ryan Mulder, the top 10. Oh, squeeze job! Reece Dickerson fighting for his life here with Glenn Arnott and Nick Wood bearing down on him.
This is actually, I think this is Dicko's best race so far since moving up. Running the 0-1, representing the Amsplit as the current champion. Top 10 finishing at the moment. He's having a cracker night.
Certainly is. By the way, the opponent that will await the Socceroos will be either Denmark or China. Just so that everybody's aware of all of that. So, yeah, huge sigh of relief after that shock loss to Nigeria last week for the Socceroos. For the Matildas, I should say. Oh, hang on, Carew on pit road. It just started the last lap. Martin Carew is on pit lane unexpectedly.
Is this he's short filled himself, or is it a penalty?
It's one or the other.
I think he's short filled.
It could be fuel. Everyone would have been aware of the numbers. It's a 25-lap race. 37 minutes. Adam Lavis has crunched the numbers beautifully tonight, but that has not worked for Martin Carew. 4.27.
A little stat might slip by and through to the keeper, actually. Sam Sproul's just done his fastest lap of a 27.574.
Oh, he's matched.
Thousandths of a second.
It's time.
Yeah, so he's done a 27.574 and then she's done a 5.70. So 4 thousandths of a second in it.
It's been a while since we've seen a McLaren on the top step of the summit on a regular basis on a Monday night. Think John Merritt and think Shane Wallace. Think those blokes. But now Matty Dench is making it his own as well. And championship number 7 is looking good after victory in round 4. He does the double at Circuit Zolder.
Jared Knight comes across for 3rd. Richard King, great drive in there behind Thomas Martin, who finished 4th. Reece Dickerson, he's coming up to the line here now. Glenn Arnott. Nick Wood in 8. Oh, Glenn Arnott got by Reece.
Yeah, I think he did it the last lap ago.
Oh, he did a lap ago. Sorry, my thing's only just updated. Sorry, my bad.
Well, there you go. Simon Cox will come home in position number 14. We're watching Scott Wooden hold off, or try at least, here in the battle with Dave Riddell to hold him off in the battle for 20th, if you can believe that. Across the line, main straight. He's done it. Wooden holds off Riddell, only Ferrari in the top 20. In the end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Mercs in the top 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Porsches. 1 McLaren. And 3 BMWs. Wow. So Porsche dominate the top 20, but Matty Dench dominates everybody. And McLaren end up on top of the step, on the top step of the summit once more. And the only, I guess, downside to all of that, Joe, from a championship competitiveness standpoint, with the double here, he extends his lead. we're not surprised, but it was a clinical performance from Dench tonight. As I said, racecraft was going to be king at both circuits, Circuit of Jerez and also here, Circuit Zolder. I mean, and if you're going to learn racecraft and you're going to execute racecraft, you're going to learn a thing or two by watching Dench do his thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So hats off to Sam Sproul. He gave him a run there towards the end. Just got out there by a second. Which when you're running in the company with Matt Dench, especially once he's got the wind in his sails, it's he put a pretty good drive in there. So, and I'm sure Oscar's going to he'll have a think about that move he had earlier on. That's probably cost him maybe even another position in the championship. We'll have a look at the points later on once they're updated. It's one of the night. Some guys come out diamonds and other guys come out dust. So, great night for Denchi. I thought he might have found it a little bit more difficult starting in 10th on a track like this one at Zolder, which is a brilliant track. But it just shows the class that he's got to work his way through. I will have a look now, but I'm pretty certain that Denchi ended up, he had 4 incident points. So, probably a couple little off tracks there, but great drive by Denchi, just showing how it's done.
Brilliant stuff once more from Matty Dench. We've got Jared Knight joining us for a chat here in just a moment on the back of a 3rd place finish there to go with, I think it was, he started 4th, so that would have been 7th in the opening race. We'll get to him in just a moment. Adam Lee Holland got the job done there in race 2. And led 21 laps out of the 25. So a very nice job from him. Best lap was lap 19. Dean Eldridge was 2nd. Then Daniel Starr 3rd. Ryan Wooden 4th. Kelvin Little, Sean Benici, Tim Fuge, Mark Foster, Stephen Gallacher, Sean Rees and Adam Bryant. The race 1 winner was outside the top 10 in 11th. Interesting to note as well, stark contrast between those two races with the guys that didn't, that received the invert, benefiting from it. Adam Lee Holland started 2nd, finished 1st. Very well done. Daniel Starr from 11th. That's a good charge.
He was very well there. And Sean Rees, after having a shocker in the first race,
coming
through the top 10.
And Ryan Wooden and Kelvin Little still in the top 5 as well, boys. Like 4th and 3rd they started. Wooden finished there and Kelvin Little only dropped 2 spots. So chalk and cheese. The invert worked in Knight's favour here, but Dench dominated with 10th up to 1st. But there, a lot more of the guys that started at the pointy end finished at the pointy end. All right. Some thoughts from you on all of that, Joe? That was frantic, to say the least.
Yeah, look, and it goes back to race 1 from the AM guys, and I said it there, you've got to minimise your mistakes. At tracks like this that are very unforgiving here, you get offline here and there's curves that are going to kill you. The walls are close by the edge of the track, as we can see on track here. Unfortunately, looked like our mate Chook got involved and found the wall earlier on, which ended his night as well. It's you got to minimise mistakes, especially in big fields like this. There's Chook free banging the wall earlier on. Yeah, just minimising mistakes. You've got to get to the end without damage, and when you have like our top 3 finishes there, they're all in with us here now. I'm sure they'll attest to the same thing, just staying out of trouble. We're seeing, one of the guys that was right up the front in race 1, just finish up a lap down just through a couple of little mistakes. So it's very easy to make a mistake and ruin your night.
Indeed it is. Stay with us, Trucker. We'll have a chat to a few of these blokes here and we'll get a question or two thrown their way from you. Just going around the grounds, full-time, Republic of Ireland and Nigeria 0-all. And that will mean that Nigeria will progress through to the round of 16. The big boil over is that the Olympic champions, Canada, are going home. The Matildas go through top of the pool with they're currently 3-0 up. They're in injury time at the moment, or stoppage time, and therefore they are done. Canada, the Matildas have done what they needed to do, which was win tonight to ensure that they go through, because had Nigeria lost to Ireland, a draw would have been enough, but had it played out the way that it's done, where there's been a draw there in Brisbane, the Matildas needed the 3 points. So they've got that. The next stop will be Stadium Australia next Monday night, and a date with either China or Denmark. England will face Nigeria on the same day in the earliest slot at Suncorp. That's the game that I'm going to see. That's why I'm not here next Monday night. Extraordinary stuff. And the Australians approaching lunch at 3 for 215 at the Oval, and there are some dark clouds looming, so either rain or Australia can win that match at the moment. England are starting to lose their favourite tag. Samuel Sproul's here, Matty Dench is here, Jared Knight as well, the top three from that second race. Start with you, Knighty. Nice way to turn around what would have been a frustrating result in race one, down there in 7th position. Difficult track to go racing on. It's tight. It's a fairly bunched up sort of field that we see running around here, and it's hard to build a gap and get some space and I guess get some clear air. You had to work hard tonight.
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't a bad night. Sort of a last minute decision to run this. I don't think I've ever raced around here, so a 7th and a 3rd isn't terrible. And like Joe was mentioning before, it's just about keeping clean, and I obviously didn't have the outright pace that the other guys had, but yeah, just did my own thing, and come away with some good results.
Mate, Circuit Park Zolder, is it a circuit that you like, or is it one that you're happy to see the back of?
It's not too bad. It's not the worst track, but you've got to be on it, and minimise the mistakes, as Joe said before. But I guess probably glad to see the back of it. Not too sure where we're at next week. Looking forward to getting on Road Atlanta. Beautiful.
Hard to contain Matty Dench at the best of times. That proved the case again tonight. You couldn't get to Samuel Sproul, but you were the best of the rest. You kept everybody else at bay. Sure, there was a mistake or two there along the way for other drivers, which no doubt helped the cause. But it was fairly action-packed in that opening stint, and we were all asking the question, who's going to blink first? Who's going to come to pit lane?
Yeah, I was able to just sit behind and save a bit of fuel, and obviously was aware that Denchy would be cutting through the field, and I think a few boys just threw the white flag up, seeing M Dench coming in the relative, so it would have been nice if they probably put up a bit more of a battle, but it is what it is. Denchy's the class, has been forever, so not too disheartened to come behind Denchy.
I was going to say, and it was a challenging double tonight, and I know we saw you earlier in GT4 as well. That's one hell of a championship at the moment. Yeah,
I'm not gelling with the Aston as much as I did with the Merc, so they're obviously not running right up the front, but I don't think I've finished outside the 10, so it's not terrible considering I'm not really that comfortable in the car yet.
I can say, Zach, as you know, we actually broadcasted the AM race, like the first race. We did the AM race, Jared, so we missed race one. But I noticed there, looking at the results, you went 15th to 7th in race one. Was that a case of attrition with some of the guys that were ahead of you, or did you have a good, clean race and found your pace you're probably a little disappointed maybe with 15th in qualifying, judging by the results you had after that to finish 7th and make a good fist of it in race two and start the front. So how did race one go for you?
Like you mentioned, just a bit of attrition, couple of mistakes in front of me. Look, I hadn't done a whole lot of practice, so 15th I wasn't too unhappy with, and it's just I guess just my race paces seem to be my strong suit in basically any car lately, so I can't seem to get that one lap pace going for quali, but as long as the race pace is there and able to make up positions, all's good.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, no, well, you'd have to be. I mean, look, sitting there looking at the outside, you're probably from where you started in race 1 to where you finished in race 2. You're probably the biggest mover of the guys in the top 10, maybe other than Reece Dickerson. No, even more. You've gone 12 up from your qualifying, mate. So congratulations on a solid night in the GT3, and yeah, it's a fairly it's a deep field of talent there. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, I missed last season of GT3, and it's definitely the quality in the pro splits definitely filled out. It's a tough slog, these Monday night races now.
And that's sorry, you go, Joe.
No, I was saying to him before, Jared, like you got guys like David Riddell and Adam Burhop, and you've only got to look back, even Rob Hill, you only got to look back probably 3-4 seasons ago, and those guys were front runners, and there's a lot of fresh names in there, which I think's just, it's deepened the talent pool, and there's a lot more talent involved, which it's got to make you, just that bit prouder to get a good result like you've got tonight, to finish in the top 3 behind, guys like Dench and Sam Sproul, that had, pretty solid nights themselves. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, definitely, Joe. I think it's probably as a result of the Pro-Am and the Pro split merging. I haven't noticed like an abundance of new names. They're all guys that are fairly like long in the tooth in the club, so I think it's just probably the guys that were in the Pro-Am split getting exposed to some faster guys, and it's obviously helping them get better in their craft. So I think it's just as a result of that.
Well, as the tide rises, everybody benefits. Like once that level goes up, everyone will step up to that next level. So great work.
Well, that's the interesting point, isn't it, Joe? And I mentioned it on Thursday night. Full time at Amy Park. Matilda's 4, Canada 0. Matilda's are through, Canada go home. Just confirming that's just come into the booth. 3 for 221 of the Aussies. They need 163. It is all happening on a Monday night. So as soon as we're done here, do not go to bed. Park your butt on the couch, turn it on to the Nine network, and enjoy what's left of what's been a compelling Ashes series. Going back to what we were saying, Joe and Jared, I made the point on Thursday night with Daniel Sauer in the commentary box as well, Joe, and it goes off what you were saying, that one of the great things about this club, and you're in a better position to speak about this than most, having been here since pretty much day dot, the talent pool has shrunk and grown along the way. And that's by virtue of many different determining factors, world going into lockdown, then getting back to normal, and all the variances that go with that. But one thing's remained the same here, and that is that the benchmarks have remained where they are. The likes of the Hobsons and the Denches and the Merritts and the Lavises, they're all at the top end of the tree. Whenever they're in the server, they're considered a threat. You add Jared Knight and Jordan Malcolm and a few others to that now. But what I have to say about the bottom end of town, and in between as well, and it goes back to what Jared was saying about how competitive this series has become, is that, and we've followed it for the course of 14 seasons now, everyone is lifting their own game in a bid to be the next Matty Dench, the next Brenton Hobson. So we've been able to track the journey, if you like, of some of these guys who have started out as cellar dwellers and have risen up through the ranks. And I mentioned the other night, one of the examples that came to mind straight away was Dale Sharp, what he's doing with the BMW in GT4 and GT3. That's one thing, but there are so many other examples of that, not just in this field, but the AM split as well.
Absolutely, and like you say, and Dale Sharp's probably a perfect example. He's been grinding away in the club here, probably almost since he was probably one of the earlier, like other than the founding guys, he was probably one of the first guys to join the club, and he's just slowly gotten better and better and more consistent. And as you say, there's a number of guys through that have done that, but we've had Shane. Gizzy. I can't think what he called himself.
Shane Wallace, I think it was.
Shane Wallace, that was right. Yeah, so he came in and he absolutely set a benchmark for everybody in the club, and and there were some guys there that stepped up. There was the young Jordan kid in the Porsche, and there's been a number of guys that have come and gone, but as they've come in, a lot of the guys that were a bit slower, they all rose to the occasion and come up. And now, obviously, we've got the benchmark in Denchi, but it's good to see guys like Sam and Jared, and Thomas Martin's another guy. It doesn't matter what car he gets in, he's fast, and he's only just outside of the top 3 there. He finished 4th overall tonight, so. It's the same thing, like I say, everybody is just sort of rising to the occasion, which is great to see. The club's in a pretty good position at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I'll get Jared Knight's thoughts on that in just a moment. But I was going to say, if anyone didn't know beforehand that it was who it was, then our good mate Dave Baldwin has just confirmed that.
I think everybody knew that.
I don't think anyone was under any sort of illusions whatsoever. But Jared, your thoughts on what we've just been discussing here, mate?
Yeah, completely support the sentiment that Joe's going along with, and I think as long as we keep it with the 2 splits, I guess GT3 specific, then you'll just see more and more names coming to the top of the tree, and the times will get tighter.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But at the same time, as Samuel Sproul will attest, as a few others will attest, Dench is still in a different postcode. So even though, he gives you a glimmer of hope or, an inch, he doesn't give you the mile. He's still the benchmark, and there's still a fair way to climb to try and contain that and peg him back a bit.
Yeah, it's been that way for a long time. It's always been a battle for seconds. So I think as long as Denchi's around, it's what everyone's fighting for. But it's some guys obviously taking it to him a little bit. I don't know whether he's not as comfortable in the Macca this year, but it seems like the gap's definitely close to Denchi a little bit.
Well, actually, to be honest, let's bring Joe Baldwin back in at this point in time. Then we'll get the man himself. Stay with me, Jared, because I want to ask you about Road Atlanta in just a moment. But Trucker, it is a testament to M. Dench that, well, he is the only McLaren in the field. And yes, whilst the competition is pegging him back a little bit in terms of the margin, he's still well out in front and winning these races. So he's able to do with this machinery what others haven't been able to achieve over the course of time. The McLaren hasn't received a heck of a lot of love, as I said there at the end of the second race in the last few seasons. But Matty Dench here, M. Dench, has given himself a bit of a challenge, and so far it's paying off.
Yeah, look, and I'm sure Matt, we'll pose the question to him, but by chain, it just shows you the depth. I'm not trying to blow wind up his. It's to have Matt get into what's pretty much an unloved car and still go out and maybe not dominate as easy as he has in previous seasons, but still getting it up to the front of the field just shows that 7,200 I rating that Matt's got. And he's worked hard and clearly put the hours in, and I'm sure he'll he obviously loves what he does. So it goes to show that the car isn't incapable. It's you put any car in the right hands and it's going to go well. So it's good to see that Denchi's probably giving himself a bit more of a challenge by running the Macca this season, which clearly nobody else thought it was worthy of winning races. So
on that note, stay with me, Jared. I'm coming back to you. Let's bring the man into the booth now. Matt Dench at this point in time. Well done. I think you were marginally pipped in qualifying. Tight margins in qualifying across the board tonight. Marginally pipped there. You made it count when it mattered, and that was in the 2 races, mate. First in race 1 by a couple of seconds, contained the field nicely. Second race, the drama that normally befalls you in these invert situations unfortunately plagued the likes of Simon Cox and also Oscar Glissett tonight, and that was the start of the climb through the field for you. 2 positions on the opening lap. You slowly but surely chipped away at it. Smart strategy play saw you back out only a second and a half away from Samuel. That was originally 5 or 6 seconds going into the pit stops. You hit your markers right tonight, mate. You found a way by him. He did make you work for it a little bit, but you then pressed on, punched out the fastest lap of the race, and claimed the double. So the championship is well and truly going along swimmingly for you at the moment after 4 rounds, despite a rough first round.
Yeah, tonight's gone pretty well. The car feels pretty good through here. He's got to be careful on the chicanes. We can't touch those sausage curbs with the McLaren. He gets sent to the moon. But yeah, overall it was a really good race too, which is nice and easy, and keep a bit of a gap ahead so we can dodge the carnage.
Talk to me about the frustrations of Zandvoort, because yes, it's a fast race track. Yes, there's plenty of excitement for spectators and for commentators at this circuit, but it's a challenging character building sort of track for drivers. A mix of fast and slow corners, different degree of chicanes, limited overtaking opportunities, not to mention the fact that it's a narrow racetrack. You really had to work hard for it tonight.
Yeah, we'll just trying to stay close enough and wait for a mistake from whoever was ahead, and just try and get a nose in at the braking zone. But other than that, yeah, really difficult track to pass on.
Yeah, exactly right. However, in saying all of that, what'd you make of the fight with Jared and Thomas Martin and Richard King there in the early stages of the second race, mate? It seemed like you were fairly content to just sit there and let them have at it.
Yeah, like I said, I was just waiting for someone to make a mistake so I could try and sneak by, and then they kind of started battling a bit, and I was like, oh no, might have to try and force the issue, otherwise we're going to lose too much time. But yeah, there was a mistake from might have been Oscar, I think. He dropped a couple of spots, and another little mistake, and you'd gain another, then another mistake, and we're just sneaking our way up.
And that was the thing. Mistakes were the difference tonight. Thankfully, one little clip of the dirt that we saw, but everything else, it appeared to be trouble-free for you.
After the pit stop, when I was trying to catch up to Samuel there, the NASA gave me a call at that first chicane, and I kind of launched the car quite awkwardly, and I was airborne for a bit.
We did miss that. There you go. Must have been while we were checking in with another battle. Trucker did get our attention back to your battle just as you were executing your overtaking manoeuvre, though, mate. So very nicely done. Must have been pleasing to be able to go on with it and get the job done. Must also be pleasing for everything that we've just mentioned here to be achieving results in a car that other people have struggled with.
Yeah, the McLaren's a bit of a tricky car, like the Porsche and I guess like the Ferrari, McLaren, BMW, you can be quite a bit more aggressive with the entry speed and sort of how you steer the car into the corner. The McLaren, you need to be quite gentle and really easy on the brake and just really smooth inputs, otherwise it wants to spin around on you.
Joe, anything for the number one, the incumbent?
What's it going to take to stop you, Matt? Where, I'm sure some of the guys want to know where you think, be critical of yourself. Where do you think your weak point lies? Or do you think you've probably got it all covered with the amount of laps and the practice and the way you go about setting your car up? Do you actually see that you've got any, because we can't see it, you're just solid every week in the Porsche, in this car, just about everything you drive, you seem to be solid week in, week out. Very rarely do we see you get involved in incidents. Like there's been a couple over the last couple of seasons. Not like I pick one off the top of my head, but it happens. But where do you see areas that, not so much your weak points, but where do you think you could probably improve your racing?
Honestly, like in terms of my driving style, I think it's come a long way since I got the coaching. There was only one area where I kind of struggled a little bit, and that was the entry into high-speed corners. Other than that, it's mainly just trying to be patient and keep a clear mind so you can just drive the car to its limits and not push beyond that.
So we're buggered trying to beat you then. That's what.
Well,
that's what I think.
I think once we jump into the Ford, I think that'll be the end of the championship run. I think.
Well, we'll wait and see. That might be next season's assignment. We will wait and see. He does superhuman things. So if he can muster something out of the Ford, I think everybody will be mightily impressed.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things. Like I don't want to sound like a broken record, like a Matt Dench fanboy, but even when we have the likes of Hobbo that come back and race with us now, you've clearly shown yourself to be a benchmark of the club, Matt. And I just got to, pat you on the back and say, well done. Like it's fantastic to see. And every club has a benchmark driver, and I'm sure it's something you're proud of to be involved in a club like ours, like the size of what the gents has become, and just to be consistent week in, week out, and have sort of, I guess, that target on your back is something we all aspire to as drivers for the right reasons, to be fast and winning races and being able to come through the field clean and set that benchmark. It's got to be a proud point for yourself after the work you've put in and just your level of consistency.
Yeah, it's always good to have people looking up to you, and it's a good bunch of people racing here. So I've always enjoyed my time, so I've always stuck around.
Yeah, good stuff. No, it's just good to try and get into the mind, and knowing that you feel there's probably just to know the coaching's probably good. That's something that anybody who's listening and wants to know how to improve, obviously they can approach coaches. Which coach did you go with, Matt? Was it VRS or was it somebody else private? Driver 61, one of them?
It was with Daniel Morad. He's a Twitch streamer. He does.
Yes.
He drives Mercedes GT3 in real life as well.
Yeah, GT3 and GT4. Yeah, Daniel Morad. Anybody wants to work out who that is, look up More Radness on Twitch. I think it's his handle, isn't it, Matt?
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Hey, Denchi, same as Jared, stay with me. I'm coming back to ask you guys for your thoughts on Road Atlanta in just a moment, but let's bring Samuel Sproul into the conversation at this point in time. And be advised, folks, time is getting the better of us here. 16 past 10 already. Lunch at the Oval will be taken at 10:25 Eastern Time, 1:25 local. We'll have the score update for you then. Just repeating the Matildas through to the round of 16 and the FIFA Women's World Cup as well with a 4-0 win tonight over Canada. Yes, you're hearing that right, 4-0 over the Olympic champions. Samuel, welcome into you. Extraordinary race. You must have been pinching yourself there at one point. Okay, let's go back before I even ask you about race 2. What on earth happened in race 1, please? Because you had the gift of starting first off an invert, which means you were 10th in race 1. So that obviously, judging by the pace we saw from you in race 2, couldn't have gone to plan.
No, I really miffed my qualifying, and I think I started P12 or 13 or something in race 1, and then there was a bit of an accordion down at the chicane, and I think got a bit of damage up the front, and so I just sort of tried to stay out of everyone's way. This is my first race with the GT3s and GSRC. I really didn't want to come in and make any noise that wasn't appreciated, and then somehow I ended up P10. I was like, well, I'm starting at the front, I may as well send it. I'll just go for it, see what happens. I'm a GT3 newbie, and yeah, I had a good time, I guess.
Well, in saying that, the second race, you had a well of a time there because you took advantage of the situation presented to you. Okay, you finished 10th. Congratulations, you reap the benefit of the invert. You start from pole position and you take off and you build yourself a lead of about 5 seconds. I bet you must be wondering how the hell Denchi was able to trim that to 1.5, despite only being 2 seconds quicker than you in pit lane. I'm not sure where the other 1.5 seconds disappeared.
I was more just couldn't believe I was 5 seconds ahead of anyone in first for most of it, and then you can see the point when I was looking at the standings and trying to work out fuel, which I have no idea how to work out in the GT3, when I just decided to fly off at turn 2 and do some mowing, and I think I lost a couple of seconds there, and then I just have no idea what to do in the pits. I've never entered the pit stop at Zolder, so that was kind of all.
Yep.
Let's just give it a go. So lost a few of those seconds, but overall, I don't know. I was really pleased with my P2, to be honest.
Yeah, and rightly so. Okay, Matty Dench, I'll come to you because we've seen you trip up at pit exit on a couple of occasions, but when you go to a racetrack, Nick Fodiatis has always insisted that competitors in these servers, for obvious reasons, because it can be where races are won and lost, practice their pit entry. How much time do you put into that just so that you can make up those tenths, hundredths of a second when it matters?
I always send it down pit entry at least once. If I get it really wrong, I'll have another go. But yeah, as long as I pretty close to the mark on the first run, then that's all I sort of do.
That's all you need to do, essentially. Hey, Samuel, as you say, happy with the second. Must have been flashbacks to the other night, though. I mean, similar situation in the Porsches, you and the teammates, but you didn't have the teammates there to help you tonight, and M. Dench comes bearing down on your neck.
Yeah, I was devastated to see Oscar had made a mistake or something and it ended up in P20 something. I thought he was going to be my guy that could hold off Dench at this point.
Yep.
And then there were definitely a few polite blue flags, or not blue flags, just a few polite positions handed over, I think. And I was like, well, fair enough. I went to sort of battle Denchy as he got to me, and I did for a bit, and then I made a mistake, and he got a great run on me, and I thought, again, it's like, I'm new here, I just don't want to cause a scene, and I just take it, bro, because I just want to get in your toe and try to get fastest lap, and I missed out on that by 4 1,000ths of a second.
4 1,000ths of a second. Yeah, I was going to say, that was actually opportune thinking from you to catch a toe with Denchy here and follow in his footsteps, maybe learn a thing or two from him along the way.
Yeah, very much so, especially just in this class of racing. I need to learn quite a bit, I think. It was a real shock in the first race, kind of realizing every car has a different braking point.
Yep.
And that kind of threw me for a loop for the first few laps, following a Beamer and then a Ferrari, and I was like, well, I have no idea where any of these guys are braking, so I'm learning it now.
I guess that's the one distinct difference, isn't it, between a Monday night and a Thursday night. Monday night, yes, you're still in a Porsche GT3 car, but there are other makes and marks out there all fighting over the same piece of real estate. On Thursday night, everyone's in a Porsche.
Yeah, pretty much. That's why I love Porsche Cup. It's equal machinery, and it's all about driver. And there's very little you can do on a setup. In this one, you're battling a whole lot of factors. It's super interesting. It's a lot more complex in GT3. There's a lot more strategy. I find it even harder to be fast in a GT3. You've got to be even smoother than Porsche Cup. I think Porsche Cup's really forgiving. Like, you can kind of save a slide, hammer it. You don't get interrupted by traction control and stuff all the time. GT3, it's so easy to lose 4 tenths, and I guess because I'm new to it, I just have no idea where I lost the 4 tenths. My delta will just be way down. I'll be like, well, I got no idea where that happened. In Porsche Cup, you know exactly where you lost those tenths. Maybe that's just the sheer number of hours I've put into the P Cup compared to a GT3 car.
So, okay, let's explore that element for a moment. Are you setting yourself a new challenge here with GT3? Will you dedicate some more time to it to persevere with it here?
Yeah, I've been wanting to branch out of Porsche Cup into just anything really. Porsche Cup's, that's my forever car that I'll stick to for the foreseeable future.
Yep.
But I feel like I have reached a bit of a ceiling with it, and I feel like if I go into some other series and see what I can do in those, hopefully that will yield me even more pace in Porsche Cup. My teammates in the P Cup League, they're very dedicated to it, as I have been. But I think I'm trying a different plan. I just want to try the cars and see if I can get faster in Porsche Cup from them.
Spreading your rings and broadening your horizons. What are you finding the differences to be between the Porsche you drive on a Thursday night and the one you drove tonight?
It's insanely fast. Cornering is crazy. It's just a lot more complex. Where the Porsche Cup feels quite raw and like emotional, I guess would be the word. The GT3s feel very kind of focused and methodical and more scientific than a Porsche Cup car, perhaps. Poor choice of words. But yeah, These are more of a spreadsheet of the car rather than a weird painting where you're just throwing paint at the wall. That's my
Copy
take.
that. Copy that. Very nicely done. Thank you for that. Now, quickly to wrap things up, because we've lost Trucker Joe here. Trucker's on his way out. He's obviously got an early start tomorrow. We thank him for stepping in for the night. That's all right. He did have a fun night. He's just messaged me on social, so I appreciate that, mate. Thank you. He's got to run, but we do appreciate him deputising for Liam Banks tonight, who will hopefully be back on deck next week. Liam feeling a little bit under the weather after 2 weeks of me being out of action, one through being down interstate with the family and one through appendicitis. For those of you that aren't aware, catching up over the last couple of weeks, yes, it's been a whirlwind detour via a hospital on the way back from Sydney to Ipswich, so that was not planned, but nice to be back on deck and happy to be back on a Monday night with you guys. Hopefully Liam back next week. If not, Joe's welcome back anytime. Quickly around the room to finish things off. Let's start with third and work our way up. Jared, Road Atlanta offers up a unique challenge in its own right. Completely different racetrack. Technical first half, very fast second half. Compared to Zolder, but it's one of our favourites, and next Monday night we get to use it as our playground for the fifth round, the midway point of the GT3 series, and I think it'll be an absolute belter.
Yeah, I think the Porsche will probably struggle a little bit. It's obviously well known that Road Atlanta is a track that the Mercedes is always strong at, so I think you'll find the likes of probably Simon Cox and Wayne Hewitt will be up the pointy end with Denchi, but I think the Porsche might just be a bit underdone at Road Atlanta next week.
Yep. Interesting to get your insights on that, Samuel Sproul. I mean, obviously your first assignment will be Thursday night in the Porsches, but what about Road Atlanta in this thing next Monday night?
Yeah, I had a blast, so I guess I'll be practicing. We'll see what I can do. Love Road Atlanta, amazing track. No idea how a GT3 goes around it. We'll find out next week for me.
I guess that's the other thing, though, isn't it? How much time, how much of a compromise does your Porsche Cup preparations take or suffer as a result of now dedicating some time to the Porsche GT3?
Yeah, that's a really interesting one. That's kind of why I've jumped in. I need to find that out. I need to work out how it's going to work. I need to try do both and see if it's manageable. If one's not, I'm going to have to stay, committed to my Porsche Cup requirements and get through that season and get the team across the line. But I feel like I'm pretty confident I can get through it. I know Road Atlanta well, so it shouldn't be too much adjustment.
We'll have some championship points for you in just a moment, but before that, Denchi, sprint round again next week. Road Atlanta, the venue. Looking forward to this one. I mean, again, the invert comes into play, but at least we know the back straight, the lead onto the back straight, and also that run around from the exit of the chicane at the end of the back straight all the way up to turn one. Legitimate, genuine overtaking opportunities there. You won't have to work as hard as you did tonight if everything falls into place for you, but easier said than done, because as much as it is one of our favourite racetracks, it's also one that bites as well.
Yeah, I think the McLaren Road Atlanta, it's going to be pretty tricky. Turn 1 and Turn 5. Turn 5 is really bumpy, and McLaren doesn't like that too much. But the McLaren's got some really good legs behind it to run down that back straight. So if we can take it easy in the first sector, we can probably make something happen down that back straight.
And what about, I mean, obviously, Jared's already said it might not necessarily be Porsche's night there, but, I mean, the McLaren, you're a one-horse fight at the moment. Can you continue flying the flag and extend your championship lead further?
Yeah, well, I think it's been a while since I've tried to drive the McLaren at Road Atlanta, and I think last time I did try there, I could not make it around Turn 1 at all, so we'll have to see how things go.
Oh, that doesn't bode well. Watch Turn 1 with interest next week, folks, while I'm coming back from Suncorp. 3 for 238, the Aussies at lunch. They're walking off after 66 overs. 384 the target, so I would given that there's still 2 full sessions of play, depending upon what the weather does, it's either going to be that England need to take the 7 wickets or Australia will get the runs. I think they've got the run rate well and truly under control there at this point. Denchi, thank you. Well done. Jared Knight, thank you. Well done. And Samuel Sproul, thank you to you as well. And apologies. Did I get your thoughts on Ride Atlanta? I apologise if I didn't.
Mine or Dench?
Yeah. No, I got Denchi's.
Yeah, you got mine. I love it.
And I got yours, and I got Knight as well, because I started with him, so that's all right. No, I thought I did that correctly. A fair bit going on here tonight, answering Joe's message and a few other things, but no, all is good. Hey, gentlemen, not going to hold you up any longer. It's already 10:30. Thank you very much for that. Go and get some sleep. Well done again. Thanks for putting on a good show.
And thanks to you, mate. Without you guys, this league would be half as much. It's so good. Thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed the broadcast, boys, and I'm glad that we're able to do it for you. We can't do that without our great sponsors scrolling across the bottom, the top of your screen at the moment either, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll thank them in just a moment. I think Adam Lavis has some updated championship standings for us in the pro split, so let's have a look at them if we can. And remind everybody of where things stand at the end of 4 rounds. And Matty Dench is just continuing to do Matty Dench things, extends the lead out again tonight, and extends it out to 59 points over Simon Cox, who didn't have a night to remember, but still pocketed 37 points. Remember, drop rounds coming to play at the end of round 7 as well. And Nick Wood's up at a third now. Again, a character that didn't do much tonight. 18th in race 1, 8th in race 2, but up 10 spots and sits there third in the championship. Glenn Arnott up to 4th. Wayne Hewitt sits 5th. Then a plethora of Porsches, Glissett, Knight, King and Dickerson and Alan Holgerson make up the top 10. Look at that. 10 points covers 5th and 10th. 10 points covers 5th and 10th. 13, 4th and 10th. But at the top end of the tree, it's 59 the margin. 120 covers 1st and 10th at the moment. That's an indication as to how far ahead Dench is, and we're only 4 rounds in. He didn't have an opening round to remember either. Chuk Fung Wong's 11th, the best placed of the Lambos. 4 manufacturers in the top 10. Are we surprised that it's a breakdown of 4 Porsches, 3 Mercs, 2 Bimmers and a McLaren? No, because there's only 1 McLaren in the fight. Let's have a look at the AM split if we can. Not yet? Okay. Well, in that case then, we won't hold on. We will press on and tell everybody to keep an eye out on socials for that information, and we'll pass it on later in the week. Let's do a quick plug to all the people that make it possible for us to do what we do here Monday and Thursday night, and we say thank you as always to Waste Options, the naming rights sponsor of GT3, to Orbic Australia, the naming rights sponsor of GT4, and Blackout Electrical Solutions, the naming rights sponsor of the Porsche Cup, and Login Systems, of course, have been our ongoing supporter of the Endurance Championship. Astute, Finance, Insurance and Wealth in East Brisbane, and Fisher & Door Lawyers, and Flash Graphics. A big thanks to all those people for their ongoing involvement with the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Some of those guys have been around for a very long time on our platforms with this club. Others are new sponsors, but we can't do it without any of them. Here's a look at what's coming your way on the platforms of the GSRC for the rest of the week. Now, internal servers will be up tomorrow night for GSRC up-and-comers. That's from Okayama, the Mazda MX-5, 7:50 Eastern Standard Time, 3 sprint race program there. There are people that shudder at the thought of Mazda MX-5s in sprint racing, so hello to those people. Formula Ford on Wednesday night kicks us off at 7:30. That's from Summit Point. That'll be good. And then on to Ride Atlanta for the V8 Supercars. That's sprint racing again. The order of the day there, excuse me. I'm going to sneeze here in a minute. Thursday night, we're excited about this as well. Daniel will be in the chair. And it will be Modal and Aragon, the venue first up for the production car series in the Toyota 86s. Yes, the Gazoo Racing 86 series is back on deck, and that's on the GP layout. That's 7:30 p.m. 2 sprint races there. We're with you from a couple of minutes prior to that markup. Then it's followed by another trip to Jerez. So we've been to Aragon already this season on the Monday night. We've been to Jerez tonight. So we're back there on Thursday night, and it's Porsche racing, it's sprint racing, and it's 8:45 Eastern Standard Time. Looking forward to that. Friday night, it's the Wings and Slicks, of course. That's coming your way from Knock Hill. Geez, that'll be good. 8:15 Eastern, 2 sprint races there. Saturday night, the Mountain Men in the Legacy 2014 Supercars, 8:30 p.m. and 32 laps there. Sunday, we are on air for this Login Systems GSRC Endurance Championship, 4 hours around the Monza circuit in Italy. Race start midday Eastern time. Liam Banks and Sam Chapman and everybody else will be with you a few minutes before that. Then on Monday night, the Orbic GT4 Challenge heads to Road America. I'm not here next week, but I'm actually a little bit disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I'm looking forward to going to the Women's World Cup and checking that out for the first and only time in person. But that would be well worth the price of admission. GT4 around Road America next Monday night, 7:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, we back it up with Waste Options GT3 from Road Atlanta and another sprint race outing there. And again, you will see an AM split race and a pro split race during that broadcast. That gets underway from 8:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. So that's it from us. We are done. 3 races, 2 different winners. Well done to Jordan Malcolm, too good in Spain in GT4 for Orbic Australia. Well done to Matty Dench, too good here at Circuit Park in Zolder. Don't forget gsrcmerch.myshopify.com if you want to get your hands on any of the good club merchandise available for your purchase there. The stubby holders,
I've been chatting to John and come up with some ideas for some upgraded shirt designs. So
very good.
Hopefully in the coming weeks or so, we should be able to hopefully get some fresh merch on the sale.
A new club shirt. The hoodies are there as well. It's great. I don't have a hoodie. I might have to get onto that. It'd go well down here in the bunker during the winter months. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, merch.tgsrci.com or gsrcmerch.myshopify.com. Either address, get you to the link. Hope you enjoyed it. We're done and dusted for a Monday night. Thanks to Adam Lavis. Thanks to Joe Baldwin. Thanks to you at home for tuning in. Well done to the Matildas. They're through to the round of 16. Well done to the Aussies. 3 for 238. It wasn't looking good there at the start of the session on day 5 at the Oval in the 5th and final Ashes test. But they've recovered. They've bounced back nicely to be 3 for 238 at lunch. And we're looking forward to seeing if they can get the job done in what would be a record run chase at the Oval and the 8th highest 4th inning successful run chase in Test match history. Just let that sink in for a moment. Will Mother Nature get in the way, or will England turn it around after lunch? We're going to find out in the next 5.5 hours. Go and strap yourself in, get the coffee brewing, and buckle up. It's a big night ahead. It's the last big, long night for overnight sports viewing for the night owls out there for a little while until the US Open rolls around at the beginning of September. On behalf of Adam Lavis, Joe Baldwin, and the rest of the broadcast commentary and production team here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, wherever you've been tuning in around Australia or indeed the world across Facebook, Twitch or YouTube, we hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you, and we'll see you Thursday night for some production cars and Porsche racing. Until then, I'm Zach Caban. Have a great evening, everybody. Bye for now.